drone countering systems. We know PLTR works heavily in that AI defense space with government contracts. Now it looks like OpenAI is trying to step on PLTR's toes in that place. This is actually also a big change for OpenAI, which previously had a stance against military work. So you have to keep an eye on PLTR here with that story reported by Wall Street Journal that OpenAI is moving into its territory as of right now. We're going to go back to Joe, I believe.
This is it for the midday. One last thing. NT in the chat. Hello, Sharif and Joseph. All right, hello to you too. But guys, this is the end of the session, and we're going to send it off to Neil and Sean 2.0.
Yo, 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 what's happening?
Hey, it's Neil.
How's it going, Randy?
There we go. Hear me now? Ram.
Can we? Are we being heard? Okay, all right, cool. Yeah, how are you guys doing? I'm just pulling up the chat here. Yeah, I mean, like, look at all. Sean, how are you in so many positions and you're not even?
Yeah, it happens.
That's some next level trading.
It's Wednesday. I mean, you do what you got to do.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Nvidia's up 3%. Like lots of stuff rolling around here. So,
yeah, Nvidia, these are pushing fresh highs right now.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, look at this, 144.87. Yeah.
Can't Randy, how are you down and you're already $4 in the money on NVDA?
I
hit the dollar club for us
magic.
there.
Oh boy,
it'll be insane.
It's all about the Magic Wednesday. That's I don't know what to say, but that's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Chips.
So, are you long any chips?
Not recently. No, I was NVIDIA early in the year. Who wasn't long NVIDIA? Come on.
Yeah.
The run they've had this year has been unbelievable. Is it going to stay that way?
Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, there's an appetite for everything they make.
Yeah, I feel like stonks only go up, Randy. That's what I've heard.
Well, some stocks, not all of them, but what was that?
I think I think Sharif might have hit a light up there for a second.
They're not going to surround here.
Yeah,
some stocks, but not all of them. It's been a rough year for some.
Yeah, for sure.
Is what it is. Is what it is. I was going to have a look at Rivian, but
yeah, no worries. I always talk about how the S&P is almost rigged to do well because they kick out the worst performers and they bring on the best performers, and margins are always increasing. Companies are going to continue making more and more money. Market caps are increasing.
Are they all going to continue to make more money, though?
Not necessarily, but I'm saying the top companies rotate, and then the ETFs, like the SPDR, that's weighted by market cap, is poised to continue to go. I think it's a great indicator of economic, maybe potentially economic progress. But.
And what do you think when this new administration kicks in the new year? Where are we headed?
Honestly, I have no idea. The thing is, I think I don't really get into politics as much, but the thing that I do know is that a lot of the times the changes don't necessarily affect things too bigly.
Mm-hmm.
Things are not affected too bigly, but the thing is, people talk about certain policy changes that could affect certain things, and I think those trades are definitely something that can be considered.
Yeah,
and
I think we've got some homework there to do come the new year with policy, as you said.
Yeah, of course.
With not only EVs, but oil and gas and trade policies.
Yes.
Export policies.
Yeah.
Import policies.
Yeah.
Tariffs.
We saw the 25% with Canada and Mexico that was announced. I think it's until everything is said and done.
I think a lot of the industries are going to have a hard time digesting that. I think there's a lot of talk, and perhaps not yet action, of course, but down the road, I think there's going to be some more level heads come into play. Hopefully. Yeah. A lot of money on the line here, folks. Not just the auto industry, but again, chips and everything that's made in Mexico and Canada, oil, natural gas, refined products, the whole works. There's a lot on the table here.
Yeah, for sure.
So a lot of jobs, a lot of economy that hangs in the balance.
Yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe, folks.
Dropping some good stuff here. 145 here on NVIDIA. I was like, oh boy, I was sitting back at my desk. I was trying to short. I was like, okay, is the buying finally done? 4 candles to the downside. I'm like, all right, maybe we can potentially get involved. Nope, gets stopped out, pushes right back up to 145. Hands off the table. This market can't stop, won't stop. 21,500 on the NASDAQ right now.
That's, they're just leading the parade. It's crazy. Looking at Rivian here, just up just a little bit, but they're holding all above $12. I like this. Again, this is a long play for me. I love their underlying performance. the things that have been invested in this year. Again, we've got state trade, we've got federal investment, the likes of Volkswagen who's having their own issues, but I think investment in made in America technology.
Right.
They've got a great platform. They've got some great
They
software.
had some news last week, like chatter about potential questioning potentially the grants.
Yes. So
Yeah.
there's grant money in the works. Obviously, this plant in Georgia that's going to come together. So there's lots of good things that were being pointed at. Well, we got to go to the rundown.
Okay. Yeah.
With Sharif.
All right.
See ya.
Let's do that.
Welcome to the afternoon rundown, everyone. The show where you decide what we talk about every day. Neil and Sean, they're not here, but it doesn't matter because we've got Obi, we've got Randy, and they're ready to look at the tickers as decided by you. So join Joe and I during that How to Trade during the midday and get into the chat and vote for your favorite tickers every day. The top 5 will make it on, and we'll have a look at them for you. Let's have a look initially, though, at the NQ and look at the overall major averages. The NQ leading them all, up 1%. Big move today led by NVIDIA and Amazon. Good look for them. Google as well, also at high days. Then we have the ES marginally lower, about 1/3% with the Dow, just below, 0.5% with the Russell 2000 negative on the day. That's 2 days now in a row for the Rust. The first ticker, though, as decided by you, NVDA. Big day for it today, 3.5%, trading at the highs. There is no specific catalyst today to account for this big move. In fact, the catalyst today from Amazon should have been kind of bearish for NVIDIA. Looks like they're really deploying their Trainium 2 as well as some other chips to battle NVIDIA's H100 and the upcoming Blackwell, guys. So it didn't really matter today whether Amazon was involving themselves in the AI chip race or not. NVIDIA up 3 1/3.
Yeah, this one, like we said, can't stop, won't stop. It's actually breaking out of what it's been doing since earnings. Again, all-time highs at 152 on that earnings day one. I was there for that. I traded that. That was absolutely beautiful price action, but a little bit of strong selling right off of the open. Now, this is a 3-hour chart here, and we've been in a bit of a sell-off since earnings, but we broke that on Friday, and we've been taking up since with that accelerated action coming in on the day today. Yeah, again, I don't necessarily have a VWAP on this as well, but we held that VWAP early on in the day, broke opening range, and we're currently pushing highs. And again, Powell is talking. He's still talking. He's still talking right now. I have the video going on back at my desk, and yeah, I was like, the reversion man cometh, but the reversion move never did. And we're continuing to the upside right now. 145 just continues to push. Let's see how far we can get on the day today. But that volume coming in on this high day break, absolutely wild.
Nuts, eh?
Yeah.
Just crazy. I've got to do a deep dive into this new Amazon AI cluster that they're
yeah.
touting because, come on, it's Amazon. A lot of power behind them. If they can come up with a chipset that can compete, then they don't need the H100.
Yes.
They're not standing in line with Meta and everyone else, Apple, Tesla, who are all buying these cards en masse to train these massive AI models. Right. And if they can develop their own and they can stand on their own, that's a huge win for them, especially the size of their data centers and the amount of stuff they're hosting on AWS, Amazon Web Services.
Right.
It's an incredible piece of the pie. If they can get it right and get their own models working, it's going to be a big boon for them. Amazon up 1.9% just on the day today. Not much of a bounce this morning, but a little bit of volume to play with. But yeah, I got to dig deeper over the holidays into this technology that they're pushing and see what falls out. SMCI next on the bill.
Oh yeah.
A good day for it today, Randy, up above 2.5%, almost 3% right now. Yesterday, we did get wind that the independent board that they hired didn't find any misconduct. We're still waiting for BDO, the new accounting firm that they hired after Ernst & Young, to kind of verify that. Still no word from them. And no word from the NASDAQ with respect to delisting and compliance. But hey, they're still trading. And today there was an unusual options activity coming vis-a-vis Benzinga. It looks like 50% of the options detected here, or the unusual options activity, were bullish, with only 12% being bearish, guys. So looks like SMCI continues to recover.
If that recovery is absolutely crazy. We were just talking about this. That news came out a couple weeks ago at the end of October that you know, they might have some troubles, some fraudulent potential claims. Accounting issues as well. And then an internal probe. I don't know how legit an internal probe definitely is, but the price action definitely got probed to the downside, 17.25 lows, but we've been catching a bid since that news is kind of dissipated and we've started kind of reversing sentiment on that. But bigger picture, I was just showing this to Randy, 122.90 highs. Sellers have been in charge roughly since these highs, and we've been kind of downtrending since then there. So pretty crazy there. But reclaiming a lot of these levels right now is on.
They're a smaller player in the market, but they've got a piece of the pie. They need to hang on to it and get that brand value back. You know,
who are these guys?
What's going on?
Yo.
What's going on? Cold out? You look a little chilled.
We were walking down Bay Street, and I was like, that wind was.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
You should wear a toque.
Shut up, Randy. We'll be back very soon.
Yeah. We'll let these guys, you know, warm up and cool off. All right.
Gotta have it.
So next ticker, Marvell.
Marvell.
Hey guys, okay, Marvell, what a report they had after the bell yesterday, beating on the top and bottom line, really boosting that guidance. It looks as if that custom silicon, specifically for the AI, really keeping the boat afloat for them. Fantastic year for Marvell, up 24.33%. Boys, what's a look?
About a little Marvell here. Yeah, let's see. Let's pull up some Marvell, MRVL. And you know what, guys? We are going to talk a little bit of Marvell because I have some statistics here on my notes for the day, and we're going to go over those here quickly right after we pull this up on our chart, guys. So listen, they reported earnings, guys, so really good report here. Beat of 5% on EPS front, and then a 4.1% beat on revenue, up a whopping 90%. Year to date, best year since 2013. All right, guys. So that when it went up 98%. All right, in 2013. So this stock is starting to recover, putting in this monster session so far, up a whopping 24.5%. So guys, if you got involved in, sorry about this missing data, we had a little bit of a glitch here in the system, so hindered why I didn't get some trades for a while as well too. So just keep that in mind. But yeah. So as you can see, trending all session long, a really strong report yesterday after the bell. So keep that in mind as well. Up a whopping 24.5%. All right. So we're going to keep our eyes on Marvell as well too. Guys, Bitcoin is back to 96.5s. All right. IBIT is trading higher, just under $55 on IBIT, guys, as well as a lot of the mags moving as well too. Even though Meta is kind of hovering below VWAP around $610, which is totally fine. It made all-time highs not too long ago. So let's take a look at Meta as well too, folks. Because this is, we're gonna send it off to Sharif in 1 second. I just want one last point. One thing about Meta, it has yet to split. So I think if we get any higher, that is looming in the near future. Now we are off to Sharif with some Google news.
All right, guys, Alphabet next on the list over here, up about 1 4/5 right now. There's really no specific catalyst today for Alphabet. There was this little tidbit. There is an unusual options activity article coming vis-a-vis Benzinga. Looks like the majority of the options detected here, about 60% of which are bearish, only 30% bullish, guys. But this one is kind of recovering from a bit of a consolidation area. Good luck for Google today.
Yeah, good luck for Google. The boys are back. They left Neil at the bar apparently, so I don't know what's going on with that. So he'll be back. Oh, there he is. He's lagging in. He was a laggard coming in. So we found him. It was windy. We know that Neil has that Achilles injury. They left him. They showed up before him, but he is now back and ready. Yeah, and they left. They're like, "See you later, man." So yeah, it was that look. So yeah, guys, it's been an absolutely fun day. Bitcoin is now squeezing. A lot of volume is stepping in. So I want to watch this, guys. We are now moving towards that $97,000 mark. Someone said, yeah, Elon, thanks, great cover on Marvell, Joe. Yeah, I wasn't really expecting it. So thank God for the notes because we did have some from earlier. So again, and then now we are going to head it off to Sharif.
CYCN, guys, big mover today. I was trading just during the, hey, Brenkles, yes. Trading this during the how to trade midday show is a good look for it, up 347%. Really aggressive, really wide range per candle. We're keeping an eye on this one. 9 and change is the high day trading, though, above 7 now, boys.
Trade the pool. Imagine trading with someone else's capital instead of your own. That's what it means to be a funded trader at Trade the Pool, and this is how it works. Complete the evaluation program by meeting profit targets. Once you succeed, you trade the pool's capital, which allows you to trade with up to $260K in buying power. The best part is that you keep up to 80% of your profits while the firm takes all of the risk. It's the ultimate way to trade, whether you're a beginner or a professional trader. Go back and check tradethepool.com or scan the QR code in the screen right there. Scan it. Go ahead and scan it. Just sign up. Scan it. Just and see what it's like. You never know. Scan it. Scan the QR. Well, I thought it was Randy, $5 in the money. Sean comes back. He's $5 in the money because NVDA is ripping. But Tony, we love you too, brother. I appreciate you very much. But now it's off to the big boys over at the big, not the big desk, but the desk beside ours.
Hey, what's up, everybody? So I'm 100% logged out of the chat, so I'm gonna have to get into that.
Yeah, like I come over here, Randy's logged me out. This guy's
It's
like,
all
I was like,
good.
is this guy like hosting the show now or what? 96.
I blame myself because we're gonna show a picture at some point, and
Where's my? I don't.
like when we went out with Jeff, we had some good fun, and it was actually a good lunch. We actually talked a lot about Moon and the opportunities that I think a lot of people are gonna be able to have for overnight and for aftermarket trading, but. Yeah, I decided to order, like, I didn't remember what it's called.
Oh,
it was
I
a
have
really
the pictures.
tasty drink, and you've got it. And it was really sweet, which
Neil ordered a picture that
hid-
came in. Neil ordered a drink that came in a pink
It hid
glass.
the rum that was in it a little
pink,
bit.
A pink glass. It wasn't even a glass. It was like a ceramic. I'm gonna get the pictures in a minute.
I actually don't
Randy,
have a
thank you
retort
so
to
much,
that. It was
Randy.
legitimately a pink. It was a pink.
Randy,
stuff.
I have no idea where my task.
It was a frou-frou.
You logged.
You guys logged us out of everything.
I mean, you logged me out of everything over here. I literally.
Which is fair. Which is fair. But I was smart. I actually.
First of all, NVIDIA.
I covered
$5.
all my positions before I came in. I should have held on to something. Apparently. Sweet Christmas.
Some more out of NVIDIA.
Sweet Christmas.
Yeah, what a move up there for. And honestly, though, I don't know how to get. How to taskbar? Oh, it's on the side right over here.
I didn't move it.
You must have.
No.
Didn't you though?
All right, it's all good. It's all good. Okay, we're good to go. All right, welcome everybody. Hey, Randy, thank you for filling in for us. Randy, look. Maybe late day coffee.
I want one too. Actually,
Well, I got to make sure everybody's doing okay here. We had so we went out to this nice little restaurant here with Mr. Jeff Mendo. It was a lot of fun.
it was.
But we got to get back to some business right here, right now. I'm very surprised at what NVIDIA has been doing. We left this one sitting down. I mean, to come back and see that you are, I mean, not only did we have a little bit of some tequila, we had some $1, $2, $3, $4, $5
yours had
winners. What's up,
tequila.
Joe? Mezcal. You know the drink was $23 for one drink?
Yeah,
Don't
but
worry where we went.
That's inflation, dude. That's just inflation. That's all.
Oh, man. Okay, I'm going to get things loaded up. Neil, you better take this over while I get this off.
Oh, we can talk. I mean, look,
How's it going?
I'm not in NVIDIA. And remember, just for everyone that's watching, we had a bit of a hiccup with data this morning. So there's like a little 30-minute window where you might see some blanks in the chart. But as I said,
I gotta see what the chat is.
we can always wish that we held on NVIDIA. When I left, the lesson of the day was the rotation out of Apple into NVIDIA. Well, at least in a certain sense of the way the charts were going. And that went on, it just took it to a whole nother level. Let's be real for a second. So you hit the 145 mark. What are we talking about next? I don't think you get a test of this 148 to 150 today. And if it does happen, I'm thinking that last end of the day. So when we were trading this one in the afternoon, whoops, that chart's not back up because they minimized everything. If we do get back into the 148, I'm thinking that same mean reversion that we put on at about 3:30 in the afternoon. Now Sean's got the picture of the
Here we go.
tasty
So this is
beverage.
like a jalapeno tequila sort of drink there. I mean, it is But here we go. It's these cups. It's like the Island Breeze right in there. You guys had some little, are those pineapples up there? What are those?
Yeah, it was fruity. It was
there's
fruity.
Mr. Jeffrey Mendo. We want to thank him for all of that. And yeah, it was really fun. There will be more pictures to come. They're on my phone. So we'll get those ready to rock and roll.
What were
you saying again? All right. What happened to Palantir? Okay, so right now, all right, I don't know what happened to NVIDIA, but the market's up 1.06%. And this is my biggest position right now. NVIDIA's up $4.60 in the money. Amazon's still cruising around. Amazon's really been basing out right now. We're going to get our bearings and start to get some trades going on for right now. But
what is this?
Does this not look like a long? I mean, this reminds me of Palantir yesterday into 217 and change. So I think that this is going to be a good dip buy opportunity right there for Amazon. Man, we had this chicken karagi. We had this deep fried eggplant there where we went to a nice little restaurant, little Japanese restaurant there. We had the Wagyu pork buns. We had the pork belly pork buns. Are you logged in yet, or what are you doing over there? We had. Did anyone take a picture of all of those rolls? Like that sushi was.
I have it on my phone. I just have to put it on the social
Neil's
at some point.
here.
Okay, no, we're good.
The software.
We're good.
Okay. We did the rundown.
I should have held Meta.
Did you use your senior citizens discount? Yes, I did. 5% off on. Oh, thank you, Randy.
Oh, you don't.
Oh, Neil got a T.
Well, that problem hasn't been solved yet. I still do have the frog in the throat.
I feel like,
which is exacerbated every single time I laugh. Like, it's bad after I talk, but if I laugh, then I'm going to go into a hacking fit. No, should have held on to Meta. I did that thing where did lesson of the day. I liked the Meta reversion, but it was relatively weak. And again, there's going to be that issue with the charts. But I'm noticing here, and obviously you've just broken some fresh highs. You got to start grouping some things into buckets here, because NASDAQ just took high of the day 1%. ES just took high of the day, and we're talking 0.5% to the upside. But still, you're breaking out the high. And Meta languishing in purgatory underneath VWAP. So I think we can see what's going on here. And then we talked about Apple. Apple's actually reversed it and broken higher away. So suddenly, instead of it being, okay, rotating out of Apple and everything's going higher, you're seeing Meta start to lag a little bit in here. And I'm just going to show you in the chat and not say it. Why not AMAT?
What's up with AMAT?
So if you ever see us not talking about a stock, it has nothing to do with the merits of that company or the move that it's having in that day. I just have not looked at AMAT. Now, I like ASML more recently than I do AMAT in that sector. This chart's not wanting to load. My charts hate me this afternoon.
Look at Zane. So I sent Zane a picture of me and...
Are you serious?
I'm not going to. I mean, hold on a second. Oh, I showed it to Neil, but...
I'll give you $1 if you show that pic on air.
No, I'm not doing it to Zane.
Everybody, okay,
oh, man, this is
dead serious. Our fantasy football league.
I sent the picture. So this is a picture of me and Zane.
Show the other picture.
Me and Neil at lunch. And our friend Zane was trying to work some football deals with us in fantasy football, and I sent him that, and I was like, no, we're busy. And he sent me another picture.
No, let's tell a full story. There's a guy in our league who just lost to Christian McCaffrey.
Okay, yeah.
He's like one of the best players.
With it. Yeah.
No, and he just did. So he sent me a message wanting Bijan Robinson for the San Francisco backs, and he threw a first-round pick. I'm like, I'm trying to win this year. I'm not trading my stud. Like, what am I going to give up NVIDIA so I can have Intel? No, I'm not going to do that. And he sent you a deal as well, and then you responded, to which he sent a picture of himself. And as far as I'm concerned, if your friend is on a live YouTube stream every single day, and you send him a picture, you should be okay with that picture being on air. That's just my 2 cents. And for the record, Zane was my roommate in university. No,
yeah, we love Zane.
No, just as far as AMAT goes, because this chart hates me for whatever reason.
The thing I got to say about Zane, though, is like, as being a commissioner, forget about stocks.
He's a leader.
I mean, it's a stock show.
He's a leader.
Is what it is. Yeah, he's a leader. We have a bunch of donkeys in our pool. I mean, we're sitting right here, so people already know that.
That's true.
And he does a very good job. We even have a rule in our league where it's like based on, we call it SOTL, right? Spirit of the league, whereby like if there's a deal that's done that's just so bad, it can get reversed. Anyways, there's a bunch of fun stuff going on. So
how is SOUN still at $10?
There. Oh, you're back to stocks? Okay.
So I'm not in anything, which means I get a fresh look. I covered all my positions before we went to lunch, half anticipating Mendel would be Mendel. So we're going to look at this $10 on SOUN. But before I do that, I did want to acknowledge on AMAT, because my chart wasn't loading on AMAT.
Oh, Marissa said she liked the Randy show better than our shows.
Well, everybody likes the Randy show.
I say boo to her right now in the chat.
So SOUN is breaking,
My
not yet.
wife.
It's not breaking yet. 1025 has to go on SOUN. 3 hours ago, we said SOUN has to break 1025. It still has to break 1025. For the AMAT question, I bought on my personal account today ASML. I actually decided to I decided to buy some ASML, and I decided to buy some LMT, so some Lockheed Martin. But if you're looking at Applied Materials, this is setting up for a potential trend break on Applied Materials. Now, I understand this chart has not been doing well, the stock has not been doing well, but when you look at what's happening with the market breaking into highs, and a lot of these tech names, which used to be darlings, they're catching bids. Micron's catching a bid, even AMD's trying to catch a bid. You're seeing ASML catch a bid, you're seeing Applied Materials catch a bid. This gets above the 50-period moving average. I like it a little bit better. But I think for now, let the leaders lead and everything else try to follow. And for this question here, from positively pop, NVIDIA closed to 150 today. I'm going to say 150 no, 150 on Friday. I think you got the gravity of it's going to be, I haven't checked the chain, but I'm going to guess there is a heck of a lot of interest in the 150 strike. So my guess is that's where you get to on Friday without actually breaking it. So that's going to be my guess. I want to be looking at SOUN dips. I'm surprised it's still at $10, but that does afford us the opportunity to trade this one in the afternoon off of that level. And I'm just going to go back because there was only one position that I left on, and it was Palantir with a stop. And that's why you have stops. Because I was long in Palantir, and now it's dwindling to the downside. So always have a stop. I held on to 10% for a breakaway from 70. It's now right back into prior resistance on PLTR. So what I'd look for in a move like this is you get back into 69 and look for a bit of a fade. But it's that in SOUN. That's what's got my attention for this afternoon session. Still have 90 minutes to go. I want to be buying support off the $10 level here on SOUN.
Yeah, so just on that NVIDIA question, we're still long on NVIDIA right now, and it just keeps on working to the upside. I mean, you're now breaking through. We had written down here today on this sticky note that we were really excited about NVIDIA, and the fact is that, there it is right now. Thank you to everybody, 475,000. I was corrected at lunch when I said we were close to 500. 484,000 subscribers right now.
We are close to 500.
We had wrote down NVIDIA here, 142.50 on the long break, so that's basically what we have. We have 140.50, it dipped down. But I just want to say this. A lot of the time, we get questions about, what is on the sticky note and what exactly are we looking at? I mean, NVIDIA, I wrote down here, watch the 140 support. Finally back on the sticky note today, NVIDIA, and it's because it was back above some levels. And we started with the NASDAQ being up today, which was really nice. Oh, my Bitcoin, I had to bring these down a little bit there so we could see it. 38.5 for, 38.5 for Ethereum seems to be, where did my Bitcoin? We'll figure that out in a minute. 38.5 seems to be pretty good for Bitcoin. But what I was getting about NVIDIA is that I didn't really want to look at this until we were clean above this 140. Charts. Hold on a second. These are our Prosper Pro charts. They don't necessarily adjust quite great from splits and all that kind of stuff, and we're working on that, so bear with us. But there's the 140 break higher. We knew we were holding the 50-period moving average, so 136, 137, great dip buys, and I was actually saying that to the guys earlier. It's we're going to look back and be why didn't we just buy this? Everybody's waiting for these massive moves to the downside. They may not come. As the market every day, we seem to be waking up to new highs. I think NVIDIA, those of you that asked it, I think Neil is going to be right about this week. I think it's tomorrow. If you finish the day here at 146, we had the day right where we are right now, $2 away, you come up tomorrow, you're at 148. Then we're talking about 150. So I think we're probably above it in the next couple of days. I don't know what rallies it. We have the Amazon, which has been a good trade today for us. The Amazon, they have their event this week, so some more talk there. We saw the Palantir bump. Where's Palantir right now? We're out.
Did you
of
see
this.
you see the?
Oh, that's why. Okay, so we just got stopped out. Palantir actually tanked pretty good.
Always have a stop.
Right there. There's our. Is that what you were talking about? The Palantir stop? Yeah. So same thing too. Once we broke through 68.50, we got stopped out there on PLTR, but not a bad trade there. All right. What we talked about with Jeff over the break was, RYCEY. I mean, there's some different names here. This is Rolls Royce over on the, the OTC markets. I still got a stuffy nose. Over on the OTC markets. This is going to be interesting once they go over to that moon and they get those contracts sort of going and they start talking about overnight trading. Names like Rolls Royce, names like Nintendo, NTDOY, names like DD, things like that are trading over on the different exchanges. You'll be able to access these through basically these ETFs, but these ADRs that are trading over here. They're going to give you a great opportunity to get into some of these names. I can't remember Adidas' name, but or symbol. But there's also LKNCY. Luckin Coffee generally does some of the most volume. So this name, again, possibly moving over to the NASDAQ at some point. This got delisted back down at like $2 to $3. Now $24 for Luckin.
That was that is one of the
Hertz was the other one.
One of the best stories of an OTC move that I think you can imagine would have been Luckin. So look, SOUN did eventually, it pull back, and remember we keep saying 1025 has to go. Probably preface that by showing you the daily chart in here. And shout out to all of our viewers who said, Neil, zoom out more on SOUN.
When in doubt, zoom out.
There's your 1024. You have yet to break out this top. Now, will it break the top today? No. If I had a crystal ball, I got a magic 8 ball.
Yeah, there it is.
Will SoundHound AI Inc. break 1025 today? I'm already long at 05. Danielle Shea says yes. Well, if Danielle Shea says yes, then we're breaking it today.
I'm going to have to holler at Danielle.
So my preference would be for an afternoon break, and we've talked about this before. I would rather try to be long into a breakout in the afternoon than take breakout trades in the afternoon. I like breakout trades early. Part of the reason is you have all day to be able to hold it. You can, if something like an NVIDIA breaks out, NVIDIA was a dip buy today, but you guys understand what I'm saying. Maybe Amazon's a good example. If it breaks out early, you can hold it all day long, and you get that bigger outsized move. In the afternoon, when you're a day trader, you have less time for it to go, and I think you'd rather try to be long into it. That way you can lose less if it doesn't work instead of punching the high. And you can consider whether you want to add through a high break, or you can just hold some through that high break. So that's the approach. I'm long here at 05s. $10 is a round number. Support and the prior high is down around 990. So it's up to, anybody can say, I want to stop out at 10, I want to stop out at 995. It's really the 990 level that I'm more concerned with. I want to give it 15 pennies, which means if it gets to that 1025, I'll have gotten 1-to-1 and can cover some in front of it. So that's the plan with SOUN. I do see CYCN. I'm being very, because I know I'll bungle that one a few times. So if I mess up the name of this company, it's on me. It's starting to go. Always try to remember with these halt risk stocks, if you get caught, and we talked about this with a ZJK or whatever the heck that one was yesterday. I was trading that one at 20 long with a stop just underneath 20. If you didn't stop that one out yesterday, you were looking at 16, 17 bucks. So you're losing 15, 20%. So be careful with this if it ever loses a $7 level. But it's starting to go. It's 400% to the upside. I do like it. It's jumping around a bit, but you have to be able to structure a trade risk to reward. And the halt level is like 840 up here, resistance, and it is almost at $8. That is a little bit far to chase. If you're already in it, congratulations. I think the long off 7 would have made a heck of a lot of sense.
Still going here with NVIDIA. I mean, I was just sort of thinking about tweeting this out because we had posted some of these positions before about, what stocks we're looking at, where you're looking. And I think that's the most important thing when you're trying to trade names is what are the catalysts, right? NVIDIA didn't really have one today, just sort of breaking above and holding that 140. An interesting name today for me, of course, we talked about Palantir, NVIDIA, and Amazon. I want to look at Google was maybe another name. I want to look at SMR as well. This Google above this 170, we had written down, it wasn't today, it was yesterday, but we had looked at, today we had Palantir, Amazon, NVIDIA, SMCI. Maybe that's a name that we could look at for some sort of afternoon magic. But Google's really been trading really well. I mean, some of these, as you can see here, the NASDAQ on the 60-minute chart, I mean, NASDAQ up again 1.1% all-time highs right now for the NQ. As these start to break out, we look to say, okay, well, what are some of the biggest weightings there? You have a name like Microsoft that is the biggest weighting in the NASDAQ. Actually, probably Apple is now, but Microsoft have overtaken that for a minute. Apple's breaking out and through all-time highs, right? We took that 240, we're at those all-time highs. If you sort of zoom back out for Microsoft right here, you're gonna see you are really, right now, close to breaking through this 440. But the reason why I call up Microsoft and I call up Google is these are the names that are still away a little bit from their all-time highs. And when I think about like, what is, and here's Google, so that this all-time high is 470, and I think about right here for Google, and it just goes back to that, basically the same old stuff that I like to talk about as much as I can, and that is that, you know, you have the FTC, you have the DOJ, you have, you know, different deals being scrutinized throughout the times. You know, is Microsoft too powerful with Windows? We saw that all through the 90s and the 2000s. That held that stock back for decades where it wasn't able to move until eventually they settled with nothing on Microsoft, and then the stock starts to rip up. At the end of the day, both Google here and Microsoft both have the watchdogs all over them. You're going to notice a stock like Meta. When's the last time you saw Zuckerberg sit on Bibles there or phone books in front of the law? You know, remember that guy used to be in front of Congress every day and they used to prop up his seat. That's why I say the phone book thing. And it's like now I don't hear anything about Meta. Everything is all cool with Meta. So look what it does, man. Clear skies, right? Blue skies all the way to the upside. You're seeing stuff like Apple. When's the last time? I mean, again, you know, Apple, what about dominance in the smartphone industry? But I guess, you know what? Right now, Apple in China, I think is the third or fourth most sold phone. So right now, we don't have to worry about that, right? So what happens is Apple doesn't have anybody breathing down their neck. That's through all-time highs. NVIDIA right now, maybe there's no worries about China anymore, right? We talked about President-elect Trump talking hard on China. Is it? I mean, the guy basically flashed a 25% tariff on us here in Canada and then basically insulted, no offense to everybody in the United States, but 51st state. I mean, come on. At the end of the day, you know, I mean, it's like a lot of these companies that we maybe thought would be feeling some pressure, you know, from the election. We saw the antimony. We had a couple guys on there yesterday. There's a couple great businesses that are starting to really shoot higher because of some of the policies. So I just think that if we can ease back a little bit, and I don't know, I mean, again, look, we know that Trump has something against Amazon. We talked about the Washington Post and Jeff Bezos and all that. That's through there. He had a problem with USPS and Amazon and those kind of deals, right? I just think if the DOJ and FTC and all that can stay clear of Google, they can stay clear of Microsoft. These are the companies that I think have that next sort of oomph in them, right? I mean, we're trading Apple, we're long some of these tech names, but at the end of the day, I really think that Google, which is why I've written it down the last couple of days, this is the next one. And I mean, you got to have some of these names starting to break out higher. I like Google here. I think we can be above that 200, above the 50 period. And I think Google works moving forward. So this is one of the bigger ones for me right now. Looking forward, probably going to be on the sticky note quite often. I like Google here at these levels, especially above, as long as we hold that 170 area.
Well, another one, and look, the two names that have languished is the wrong word. The two names that have not gone there. When I say there, I'm talking about the highs in the Mag 7. You can talk about Tesla, but it got there. It's Alphabet and it's Microsoft. Well, that headline that actually took Palantir to the downside was OpenAI. OpenAI looking to weasel in on. We were talking about that. Now I'm saying weasel a lot. Weasel in on some of Palantir's game. And I think Microsoft is another name. It might break today or tomorrow. And it's got a triple top at a lower high on Microsoft. Whether it's Google or Microsoft, let's be real for a minute. You're not going to, we're making all-time highs every single day. What was it, 52 times this year that you've made all-time highs?
Yeah, 54, yeah.
54.
Same difference.
Same thing. And in December, we're going to get a few more of these all-time highs. But I promise you this, we're not going to continuously get all-time highs in the NASDAQ and the New York, or sorry, the NASDAQ and the S&P. without Microsoft and Alphabet starting to go. And both of these are the next ones to make the breakout. Remember what happened? You had Apple for a couple of days, and then it shifted over to Amazon breaking a fresh high. Well, when we get above $440, how many days do you think it takes till we get to 465 on Microsoft? 5? 3? Something like that. So I'm perfectly willing to jump from ship to ship. Now, obviously, when you make a decision from one ship to another, you can get off one train. And if you get off the train before it's left the station, then it's going to hurt. Now, candidly, I'll be the first to admit, I covered 142 looking for a re-entry into NVIDIA. There was one shot, and it was probably right before we left you guys in the morning show, and it would have been right in here off 142. Wasn't here, couldn't have had the dip buy at 144, but that's a reasonable, and I think if you don't have an entry, if you're looking long in a stock, which we're buying dips the entire way, this is the entry that you have to have. The rejection candle, when it tries to break that 141.5. And why does 141.5 matter? Like you're holding gap above, you're then holding pre-market highs, it's the one red candle, and then once you break away from that, it is all green to the upside. That's what you're looking for. You want to stay on that, the train that is leaving the station that day, that's the one you want to stick with. And NVIDIA today, I do suspect you're going to see Alphabet and Microsoft in the next couple of days. As long as we get those breakouts, they could be next. Now, I do want to acknowledge Random Oddities. I saw you in the chat. MSTR, why not? You know it's a good day if MSTR is actually at the highs. This has been a big-time dog. It's been a sell. It hasn't been able to sustain a bid. It's caught bids. It's just never sustaining those bids. So maybe this is the day where it gets to the high of the day and we actually break out the top instead of sell off in the afternoon. Sell off in the afternoon. Sell off in the afternoon. In this case, you were down so far that I guess it had no choice but to catch a bid. But it's been running into a little bit of trouble when it gets to the highs. If MSTR can get through like this 385 zone clean, this has a lot of relief rally to go. So got to be worth a watch. Obviously, keep an eye on Bitcoin as we go to the desk with Adara.
Part of the show is brought to you by Firefly Neuroscience. Firefly Neuroscience is revolutionizing brain health with cutting-edge brain network analytics powered by the world's most comprehensive EEG database. This technology provides precise insights for treating cognitive disorders like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's, as well as traumatic brain injuries like concussions. With FDA 510K clearance and CE mark approval, Firefly is paving the way for a future where brain health is clear, accessible, and personalized.
Very much, Adara. And because Neon asked, and you know what, Neon? Your name is close enough to my name that it's an automatic. First of all, I love this in the chat because I haven't done, like, I don't know, I think I have a picture in the chat. And by the way, if you want to be in the chat and ask us questions, everybody, you do have to be a subscriber to be in the chat. And the question was, please, more analysis on SOUN. I need to have a fun little avatar instead of just a picture of myself. I like the 3D glasses, like the old school, you know, like the blue and the and the red. Back
those
like those
red
things.
blue ones, yeah.
Yeah, like in the 80s, that was the thing.
We went long.
But more analysis on SUN. I'll go higher time frame. It doesn't really change the look for the trade. So if you look at the 15-minute, as everyone can see here, like you dipped into 950, and that's hilarious because we go out to lunch. Remember I was saying this morning, back into prior highs, look for the long. Well, if you're not sitting down at your desk, then you don't have this 5% win when it dipped into 950. So it is what it is. Now you're consolidating off the top. So you've got this 990 area where you've been able to hold, and it's a consolidation off the high. And as long as it's in the consolidation, I want to make the play instead of taking the breakout on the daily. When it takes out 10.25, this level back here into March, I want to sit with about a 15-cent stop, letting it break into that level. I'll take one out in front at 1-to-1 and then look for a breakout on that level in the daily. That way, if people punch into the break and it goes 10, 15 cents and stalls, well, I can be covering in profit, and then I don't need to worry about break even if it comes back underneath that breakout on the double top. So SOUN, one of the reasons why it's going to be strong, 28% short float. Keep in mind, days to cover is really not that high. You have to remember this. Like, it's a $3 billion company with not a gigantic float, like 300 million float. It's done 70 million today. So you can call things a squeeze all you want, but when there's that much opportunity for shorts to cover on tons of volume, it's not as much of a squeeze as you think, but it's certainly a momentum play here in SOUN. And James Choi just said, Intel closed at 23 today. Really? Isn't it at 22 bucks?
Is it that high right now?
It's at 22. I know it's at 22.
You know what's blasting right now? Bitcoin. Bitcoin starting to go. I mean, I was litting at IBIT right now, 96.7 right now for BTC as this thing continues to go a little bit higher here. On the daily chart, let's look at a little bit more local to that. Let's go to 5-minute chart right now. Look at this, looking to take this out right now. So this is looking to take out 97. The last time we were here, we stopped and dropped down $3,000 or 2.5 down to 94.9, 94.5. Let's see if we can get this break right now of 97,000 on BTC there. I thought when we were out, we heard notes about a new SEC commissioner being involved there when we get rid of that Gary Gensler dude. And now we'll figure out what's going on right here with crypto, looking like it wants to get going. So there's the note there at 11:45, 12 o'clock. Bitcoin made that bottom at 95,000, and it's been straight up $2,000. We can see Ethereum. It still shows Bitcoin down over the last 24 hours, but that doesn't really matter too much. We'll look at IBIT. There's IBIT right now, up 1.37%. So you've sort of made that bottom, built that around $54. Let me just look at a 5-minute chart just real quick here, just to see some of these levels. So, okay, we're nowhere near here yet. 55.5. We talked about that 56, 57 area being in and around 100,000. But now that I look at this and we're trying to break that 97,000, I guess that's right here, right now. So there it is right there, 96.7. A pullback into 55 would be pretty sweet. I think you got to watch this 50-period moving average. Look at this from 12:30. It's just like tick, 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 right? I mean, all the way to the upside now, 55.20 coming into play right there. So I'm thinking 55 dip buy opportunities in for IBIT. So we'll see if we can put that on. Oh, and by the way, new trade. All right, so we're in SMCI, so a relatively new position right here. Look, I understand it's barcoding. We take a little bit of a small early position right now, and again, we're trading on a prop floor. Shout out to Real Trading, and Neil and I, of course, can make our own decisions, and we decide, what amount of shares to put at what levels. And right now, this looks like a pretty good breaking spot, right? If you go back to yesterday, $41, $42 looked like we wanted to hold. So I said, let's start a position right now. I have 20% of the shares I'm interested in. We're above VWAP. We're above the 200. We're above the 50-period moving average on the 1-minute chart. I like all of these. So I just want to see us hold this 41. I don't actually want to start getting layered into this until about 41.50, which is coming in right now. I should have a bid. Where's my bid? Yeah, so my bid is 41.40s. So we're actually trying to bid that 200-period moving average. So that's right there at 41.40. So let's let that happen. We'll see if we drip back in on SMCI. Look, up 4%. Market's up 1%. So we've got that going with it, right? So that's a nice little take there. We're above VWAP. We like that talk. SMCI has been cooking, obviously, on the daily chart here the last little while. A little bit of a pullback yesterday, but we wrote down on our sticky note today, let's see if SMCI can support some of these bids. Now, we had written down 37.38. The lowest we got today was 39.50. So that didn't come into play. Let's just see if we could support this bottom. I'm happy kind of layering into this right now. I mean, I wish there was a little bit more happening. If you guys have anything right now in the chat, I mean, I'm looking at Netflix. Netflix taking 900. I mean, the fact that this stock is what it is right now is unbelievable. The daily chart on Netflix, they didn't even have a hiccup on that Jake Paul fight. Like, the market just kept going up for Netflix.
Well, the viewership was
yeah, I mean, they didn't even care that they couldn't handle the traffic. I mean, not being able to handle the traffic is actually a good story. You just need to adjust.
It was something new for them.
Yeah, exactly. Like, the fact that they had record viewers, more signups than ever. I mean, look at this chart. 760, whatever they paid. Jake made 40, Tyson made 20. I think the girls made a couple million each as well. Good payday there. 780, right? I mean, that Jake Paul fight, this is November 5th election, just straight up since then, man. I mean, this stock, not even a huge story about Netflix. 600 to 900, like midsummer, late August, okay? This stock, I mean, that's that August 5th. Even if we go back a couple of days after that, 650 to 950, I mean, it's just straight up for Netflix. They keep on increasing the prices. I mean, the service business continues to work. And I think another great example of that is Apple. I mean, the iWatch there, the Apple Music,
Although
the
I have one beef
storage,
with the iWatch.
the terabits, everything like that. Yeah, what?
And the iWatch is absolutely fantastic. It didn't detect my dad's fall, and that scared the living crap out of us. And it's like,
Didn't detect his fall?
yeah, which it's never failed before. It is
okay.
never, there is that, and training, if like anybody, you're around our age, parents, it is the absolute go-to. Make sure both my
parents don't have any
parents
smartwatches.
have the smartwatch, and it's to each your own. Like,
Yeah, no. I think it's a great idea.
I just think it's great.
got my
Like
mom
the
a
peace of
Fitbit.
mind that you got. But like for us, it's such an absolute given that the iWatch would detect anything that, anyways, my dad's fine. It's just, you would suspect that it's going to always work. And when it does, you start to take things for granted. But I want to say one thing about Netflix.
Yeah.
And the fight.
Oh, TQ.
Like, it's not just about the record viewership and all that good stuff. You've got to understand that live is the next frontier.
It's
like
the only
this
thing
is,
they can't.
it's the only thing left.
Right.
And so the mere fact that they're now going to challenge this game.
Squid Game 2.
Well, Squid Game 2 is going to be big. And they're doing a fantastic job. Like, I've noticed I was on a run where I wasn't checking out Netflix as much, and I was probably more Amazon Prime and a couple of really good shows on Apple TV. Yes, I'm subscribed to all of them. I'm probably wasting money, but it is what it is. But, they do a really good job. They got Squid Game coming back. I think they're going to do more Stranger Things. But it's not about that. It is going to be about the live, because once they get into that game, they got their fingers everywhere, and the only ones making money is streaming. We talk about Tesla a lot, and for those that don't love Tesla, you have to talk about them because they make money selling electric vehicles. Netflix makes money streaming, and nobody else does. And sure, Amazon doesn't care whether they do or not. And sure, Apple doesn't care whether they do or not. But if Disney was making money, they'd be at $150 if their streaming was making money right now. They're not. They're at...
they're doing actually really well.
Where is it? I know they're doing well. They're at like 120 or something. No,
They're making money now.
117.
I thought, aren't they? Or
Are they actually
I thought their last quarter
non-adjusted positive? Maybe they
I'll
are.
have to look. Or you're right. Or they guided that it'll be next quarter.
That said, how about this? Only because I pulled it. By the way,
I like
Palantir,
that.
mean reversion. I said I wanted to fade it in front of 69. But how about this for Disney? Don't try to catch the bottom. Participate when it makes the bottom. This is a weekly chart of Disney. 125, 125, 116. If you're a trader or you're someone that's looking for the next explosive move, like when I look at what happened over there with Snowflake off 116 to 120, it's a similar setup. You get a nice consolidation here. Ideally, you'd be long off 100 off the 50 period, but a break away from 125, I think that can get you to 150 on Disney. So I'm not crapping on Disney. I just think Netflix is obviously doing something very, very right, and they're going to continue to do so. So Palantir, news came, yada, yada, yada. It just went up for about 40 minutes straight, and here is your trend reversal. And again, in the afternoon, I like this setup in the afternoon because when you get a fresh look at things, either something's at a big level, it's doing big volume, or it's got a setup that works for you that you like. So that's what I want to see here for PLTR. But now that you're past 97,000, I got to look at something crypto related. My first thought is Mara actually doing any good today? The answer is yes. Where is Mara on the daily chart? Oh yes, Mara hasn't broken 26. All I want for Christmas, that's not true. All I want for Christmas is everyone to have fun and everyone to be healthy and everyone to enjoy life and spend time with your family. That being said, if Mara could time the break at 26 with 100,000 Bitcoin, that would be perfect. It's not going to happen because I think we're challenging this top today on Mara as we speak. Like you got a nice bottom, higher lows 2 days in a row, into a 25.75 top with 26 lingering. Ideally, you could simultaneously break this level with Bitcoin going 100,000, but beggars can't be choosers. 25.75 makes some sense. I see some people saying BTBT I should be looking at, or maybe like Ether. Yeah, we could pull up
Well, and Ethereum's going to break 4,000.
Yeah, I mean, Ethereum's going to make the break,
What else
right?
is
It's just a matter of where you want to express the trade, right?
I mean, I was trying to wait for that IBIT pullback, but IBIT just, Bitcoin just took 97,000. So we were talking about all of that. I mean, we could look at Mara. I mean, look at this move. I was like, oh yeah, if we get something back down into VWAP, yeah, good luck with VWAP. I mean, there goes IBIT. Only an hour left in the market. I mean, Bitcoin, you know what I was actually thinking about? with Coinbase Pro and with some of these different exchanges that depending on where you're holding your Bitcoin, what's wrong with just piling in right now? And you guys tell me. I mean, you have to be. I'm going to try to find. Where's my Bitcoin chart? Oh, there it is, right here. I was going to say, like, just looking at this chart. Let's pull it down to like maybe a 30-minute chart or something for this. Like, you see this, and these are the kind of levels that I'm talking about. Like, if Bitcoin ever drops again into like 93, 94,000, something in and around here, can you not just use 90? Like, that's 90 right there. What is this right here? All underneath here. I'm gonna have to figure out what's going on. Oh, are these like a Bollinger Bands or something? I'm gonna have to get rid of this. What's happening right now because it's distorting the chart. But yeah, I'm just thinking, like, if you get long into anything, why can't we just use 90, which came into play on November 26th, right there. That 90,000, it didn't even get there. It got to 91,000, and then it blasted up to 98,000. Like, that right there is 7%. You know, we sit here and we talk about the NASDAQ's going to garnish, you know, on average 13% a year. This year it's been obviously a record year for returns. NASDAQ at highs, Dow at highs, yada, yada. But if you buy Bitcoin, and I was thinking about this, and it hasn't happened today because it just had happened, and I'd thought about this last night. I might just put everything, and I'm talking about like all those altcoins, everything that I've sold. I've liquidated about a third of my big positions now and sitting in cash in crypto. So I probably have about 60% of what I once had. I'm thinking, like, if we come back into this area, why not just load it up, you know, at 92,000, 93,000. And then you say, you know what, if we break that 90, I'm going to have that limit order to go or market order. I don't care. The spread's going to be fine. We'll get out once it breaks 90 and we'll reevaluate. Like, to lose $2,000 on a 92,000, like, you're going to lose a 1.5%. Like, you know, I lose this 1.5%. I just sneeze and Palantir is moving 1%. You know, you sneeze and Nvidia is moving 1%. Like, what is wrong with buying Bitcoin the next time it dips into 93 or 94 and then basically saying, you know what, I'm holding this damn thing until it breaks 90 because the next stop is 140, 150, 170. But all of us are so interested in that 100,000 break that sometimes it might be worth it to pick something up on the dip, put a stop order in. Therefore, if Bitcoin gets rinsed, like my only bid right now is at 84, right into this area. We talked about that. If it comes down here, great. I'll buy more, but I'm not long still. Like, I'm getting out when it breaks this level. And if it rips back up, hey, fees aren't even that bad on trading crypto from what I've seen. You can go in and out. Look, some exchanges are going to be bad. But I think you could do the same trading on IBIT then, you know, if you're worried about trading on Bitcoin. The minute this 90,000 breaks, we get out. Otherwise, you hold for YOLO. So I don't, you know, I think there's something there with Bitcoin and that kind of an idea. So I'm getting close to doing that. The next time Bitcoin comes down to 93, which let me see what that means for IBIT right here just real quick. I just like that strategy because if you did that on Ripple or you did that on anything else, even Ethereum, that $3,000 mark, the minute you broke 3,000, if you just held it for a retest of 3,000, I wonder if you'd have that $800 winner. And the same thing would be said for IBIT,
You know
right?
what the difference is? The thing is, like, I love all those altcoins
What,
making
overnight?
moves, but I think the difference for Bitcoin and why that makes sense, and I'm looking to add, but I actually want any number that starts with a 7. That's basically what
You're
I'm
not going
looking
to get
at
it though.
now.
That's
And I probably won't. But I've been pretty patient, and I've gotten some good opportunities. I have never sold Bitcoin. I've moved from actually having it in cold storage to like an ETF. I've done that. I've never actually sold any though. But I think as long as we're in a world where there's going to eventually be nations holding it as reserve, starting with the U.S., you're gonna get a war. You're gonna get a battle with everyone trying to hold. Because if you think the U.S. is gonna be the only one holding, it's not gonna be true. You know, and there's so much Bitcoin out there that is simply unrecoverable and will never be back. A lot of the big selling was the U.S. government in the first place, and those big dump events were when whales were getting out, and they confiscate this, and they dump it into the market, and that causes a flush in Bitcoin. It gets bought right back up. If you take that away, I think it's going to be fantastic. Now, to the point, there was someone in the chat that mentioned AMD, and I did miss it, but I wanted to acknowledge and point out that AMD getting green today is going to mean barring, I'm knocking on wood in case with 1 hour to go, this ends up not being true. AMD is going to close for the second day above its down channel. It's go time for AMD. It is go time here for AMD. Is a couple of days close above. You have been taking this channel and wicking above it and immediately rejecting. You had a red day where it tried to hold and did, and now you're going to put in a V-shaped recovery off this level. I'm looking AMD longs tomorrow, almost without question. Obviously, you could come in tomorrow and you can be gapped down, and don't hold me to that if something crazy like a black swan happens overnight. I can't control that. But that's set up what we talked about for our trade of the day, our trade of the week, and it's now in that condition. So it already gave you one dip buy, and now it's giving you the channel hold above. Palantir gets to 69 and is curling. The thing about Palantir, and you can care about it or not, but the last 2 days, 71, 70, 69. Whatever, man. If the even dollar levels are just going to be the place to trade Palantir, then so be it. Obviously, shorting at 70 would have made a heck of a lot of sense, but we were looking longs today on Palantir off the 69 level. Well, if you liked it long in this week, then you should like it short. So we're going to go into the short. I think obviously if it gets to 68, that is probably a spot where it's going to catch a bit of a bid. That said, when we think higher time frame Palantir, remember we're just day trading here. And we, in the vein of software being king and all of that, when we talked about that with regards to CRM doing fantastic, the stock doing fantastically despite middling earnings because they were middling by any traditional sense. Palantir on a daily in this run up has never had more than 2 red days. So if today's the first, then tomorrow you should be looking for like maybe the 66 area in here looks really good. You got to be thinking about where your dip buy is. Because a prior high, 3-day support at 66, why not? So it's never doing more than 2 days in a row recently to the downside. So yeah, you can momentum trade it short, but if you're looking at the trend, 66 would be it tomorrow for PLTR. So you got the down day at 3% here. Now we'll see what it does next. Scott Tomlinson, what price do you like AMD at? Well, so the condition was closing above the trend line. Now I'm presuming it's going to close above the trend line, right? So let's just assume that happens with 100% certainty. There's a couple of things that it could play. It could be a break of the consolidation high for longs tomorrow at 144 quarter, or it could just simply be longs off of prior close, play it in the channel or playing breakout the channel. I'm just looking for a long trade. Again, I'm going to be favoring the long every single day since it closed above that channel break. That's all. I just want the long. It could be a breakout of the high. It could be a consolidation off the low. But my bias is turned long when it closes here. That's all. You got to be able to come in the morning and see where it's at. If it's gapped to 148 or 146, I have to change my mind. If it's gapped under 140, I don't even want the long. So I can't know that in advance of the day trade tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, that's why you always want to be able to check it out. Like we talked about the NASDAQ starting to go for a little bit of a run. I'm surprised today's up another 1%. Absolutely monstrous. Those of you that are looking at SMCI, we averaged it in back at the 50-period moving average, and we've talked about this. The only position I think that we've added right now, you're in Soundhound and Palantir. We're still in the same thing. I'm going to talk about this TQQ position. But another out there at 80. Look, it's not sexy or anything like that, but that's a 60 in and it's 78 out. So it's like it's not really moving, and I'm well aware of what's happening right now in SMCI. I'm fine being in it, but I understand that right now the market trying to tick a little bit higher right here. I'm going to talk about that with the TQs. Right now, I mean, would you believe that we have the bottom of the market today? I mean, right there, we actually called that on our sticky note. So that's why we have the TQQs, and pretty proud about that trade right here. I think this is my best trade of the day. And the reason why is that we actually nailed this one. We pulled it down to the 200 period on the 5-minute chart. This 84.50, like that just came in for us. And again, if we look at a daily chart for the NASDAQ, we had sort of talked about some of these levels right there. That's 84.50 right here, this top level. So I was like, if we come back in and test that, let's just see if we hold. Let's give it that chance. So we wrote that down on the sticky note today, 84.50 for the NASDAQ. I mean, there's the take right there, and there's some of our outs. If you go down here, oh, by the way, 70% off Black Friday right here. All right, I better go to my, I have no idea. That just came in there. We'll go to my profile right here. First of all, over 48,000. Make sure you guys join. How many do I have exactly? 48. 848. All right, so you guys join. 2 more people. We'll get there. But there it is right there. TQQ's 84.50 long. Back to the 200 period on the 1 minute chart. So I mean, we're using technical analysis right here, and we nailed this, right? I mean, a big trade there off the open. We waited for it. That's 84.50 right there. It came in, and again, it's not like we didn't like this position. We wrote it down that it was the position that we liked, so we take it. We also wrote down Amazon down there at 214. It never gets there, but we love that break right through that high of the day. We take that trade. We're still in 1% of this trade. Like, we left for lunch just holding it to see if there's anything that's happened. Right before we left the show, we got out there at 220. Nice little drip down for Amazon. But again, up 2%. Retail's still king, man. I mean, I asked people earlier this morning, what are we trading? And it's like, Walmart always seems to be on there. And like, honestly, with a 94 handle on it right now, I can't even.
I can.
Like, this chart for Walmart, I mean, honestly, guys.
It's the only reason I can sleep at night not owning Costco.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hopefully you can sleep other reasons than that, but
No,
1, 2, I get it. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Like, normally I get excited. I'm starting ramping them up, but this is legitimately 10 straight up days on Walmart. And it's like, we've known about this story for a very long time, and no matter what happens, Walmart continues to work. And why? I don't think it slows down to $100. I mean, as interest rates come down, the consumer becomes a little more confident. I know mortgage rates are still pretty high, but potentially feeling better about things, heading into Christmas. Look, if you're not a Prime member, I get it. It's $120 a year or whatever it is for Prime. I think Canadian, maybe it's 80 or 90 US. I'm not sure exactly what it is. But that's still something, right? It's a little bit of a barrier to entry. And I said this the other day to Marissa. It's like, you look around and you think about it, because we always say, like, we get like a package or 2 a day, it seems like, from Amazon, and we know a lot of our neighbors do too. But I'm thinking, like, there's a lot of, not necessarily the older generation, but there are still a lot that are not Prime members. The older members. And it's just a matter of the fact that, you know, they're still shopping somewhere. I look at SMCI because we just got long.
It's not what it used to be, though. Because I'll tell you right now, I used to be that, that person where I love getting credit card points.
Yes.
And so like when I was Amazon Prime from the very beginning, and everybody I knew was like, Neil, can you order this for me and send it to my place? Absolutely. Are you kidding me? Sister-in-law, brother, family member, I don't care. Why? Because I'm getting points on my card. I know you're paying me back right away. But now it's like you can't do that anymore. Everybody's got Prime. And just a couple of things. I want to acknowledge a couple of things here. 98 BTC. Well, sorry, check that. 97.8 on Bitcoin. Bitcoin is absolutely flying. You're into some obviously triple tops here. This is IBIT. So you're seeing this top get challenged. We're also seeing ETH start to go. And I'm going to pull up the Grayscale ETH over on the Amex. Double top. I saw this. So Joe's just pointing out, and I have not seen confirmation of this.
Here, Joe.
But Joe's pointing out that someone's saying Microsoft has added or is going to add Bitcoin to their balance sheet. Now, I haven't been able to confirm that story, but there is an obvious logic to all these companies that print money and have great cash positions.
Look at IBIT.
To look for other places to put their cash. Like, it's just, like, of course it makes sense. I don't know that they're doing it, but it makes some obvious sense that you're going to start to see it happen. We've already seen a few other companies do this. I think it makes sense. I just wanted to point out that ETH was breaking high of the day in triple top. If you pull it out over on IBIT, looking very, very strong. So we are at 98,000. Let me go to another source here, because Binance says under, TradingView says over. We're over 98,000. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna lean on my TradingView chart for BTC here, because I see it's over 98, whereas Binance has it at 97.88. Whatever. I could probably refresh that screen. No, we're right at resistance, and we're absolutely screaming here on IBIT or BTC. Either one of them doesn't really matter. Yeah, we could see if that's true, that's exactly the catalyst that can get us to 100 on the day. That said, I suspect if you see 99s, there's going to be a curl.
Okay, what about that strategy then of just buying Bitcoin once, by the way, let's go. Money, 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 money. We're at the high spot all day, baby. Again, I know Neil's been in Soundtown and Palantir, I feel like, for hours, same as me. The only new position right now, SMCI, for me. We bought at the 200 period. Does it seem like this happens to me every day, where it's like we get excited, then something drops down in the 200 period, we load up, and then it actually works? So I'm going to have to rethink. First of all, I'm going to get out some more right now at 69 if we can. 69er. We'll see if we get some more out. That is the 50-period moving average there on SMCI. I'm just thinking, and again, we actually talked about this at lunch. We were actually out with, the president of Real Trading, which does sponsor the show. This is who we trade with, a good friend of ours, of course. And we started talking about trading a little bit. And the thing is like, you got to be able to trade the names that are moving around, but at the same time, you have to understand what time of day it is, what the trading is like, and manage your risk appropriately. Neil and I feel like at least we do a great job of discussing this over and over with you guys all the time. But it's like, you can't just sort of layer into all of these trades at all the time. Like even this morning when I was long Amazon, Nvidia, Palantir, SMCI, and the NASDAQ, it's like that's a little bit too much, because if it goes the wrong way and you're long on all these major NASDAQ names, it's going to be a problem. SMCI is going to be a little bit different because it has its own catalyst, but being long the NASDAQ, Nvidia, Palantir, and Amazon, those are all names that are all kind of intertwined, so you have to be careful with that, which is why we've switched over some of the trading styles that we have here over into the NASDAQ, where we're trying to pick bottoms. And today, I was looking for another name, and you can see right here in the top left that TTQQ was like a late sort of addition to it, because I was like, you know what? We got to trade the NASDAQ. It's buzzing right now. What up, Joe? And you're going to see a nice little move here on the NASDAQ, breaking those highs. I needed to include this. We found a spot, and now we're 150 handles. I mean, on the NASDAQ right now, I'm going to say this straight up. You're not going to find another trader right here, honestly. Send it to me on X or on Instagram or whatever you want to do. This is the bottom of the day right here on the NASDAQ, 84.50. You guys have asked for more futures trading. You've asked for more of this. I'm doing it. There it is right there, 84.50. Wrote it down, the stock that we're looking at. We like the NASDAQ. And you know what the thing is too? If it breaks this level, we're probably out in 20 or 30 cents. And so to be able to hold it for this kind of a move, it's going to be a big stock. Number one P&L stock on the day for me is going to be Amazon, obviously, as that broke a little bit higher. But it's not that obvious because the TQs is right there as well. We did have a little more. We do still trust our read on stocks a little bit better than on futures, but we're getting there right now. And the reason why we trade the TQs is just because, let me just show you, and I know we got to go to Adara, and I'm not delaying for that. I'm going to go over there in 1 second. I just want to finish the thought. Okay, oh, sorry, I did the wrong symbol. NQ, I need to go Z, right? That's the contract that we're at. So right here, this Z contract, I just want to show you what a level 2 looks like for futures. So not only that, I have to resize it, right? So I can get the decimals, right? Because it trades in quarters, 50s and zeros. It's a different trade, right? The time in sales looks different. You're trading in quarters. The fee structure is completely different for us. And again, something else that we talked about, again, at lunch was the fee structure. Not everybody has similar fee structures.
That's a big point.
Yeah, than what we do. We cannot add liquidity, no matter what. Every time we're executing a trade on the CME, we are paying for that. If I simply want to get out now on the NASDAQ, all I have to do is simply bid and offer a very similar way that I've been doing it my whole life on the NASDAQ. So, similarity breeds content, or whatever that is. I'm happier trading something that I'm very familiar with, how order flow and all that will work. So that's what I'm doing, and that's why I'm trading the TQQs. Now, without any further ado, what's up, Adara?
Here, I was looking into this story with Microsoft and Bitcoin, and it's worth noting Bitcoin getting a big volume spike here on the 15-minute chart, up from 97,000 here to now 98.5. It's also worth noting this is a bit of a technical breakout as well when it broke above this previous resistance from earlier in the day, so that could be part of the role. But I am going to go over this Microsoft story because I think there is some confusion here. Basically what happened was, as of October 24th, Via an SEC filing, Microsoft revealed that there's going to be a vote during their shareholder meeting on December 10th over whether or not the company should invest in Bitcoin. This was basically a proposal that they faced there from another entity. That entity is called the Free Enterprise, the National Center for Public Policy Research here. So basically this proposal is urging Microsoft to invest in Bitcoin. MicroStrategy CEO Michael Saylor has also been pretty aggressively getting on Satya Nadella on Twitter, basically saying that Microsoft stock is lagging, so they have to invest in Bitcoin. They can have the same type of performance as MicroStrategy. To be clear, though, Microsoft's board has actually urged the shareholders to vote against this proposal. So Microsoft does not actually sound like it at all approves of this potential investment in Bitcoin. However, there are now some analysts here, including QCP, a crypto analyst, saying that if Microsoft does vote for Bitcoin, which again, the board does not want it to do, then it could roll past 100,000 by the end of the year. So this is purely speculative. And like I said, all kind of evidence or comments from Microsoft's board itself suggest they're not going to vote for this Bitcoin investment as of December 10th. I just wanted to deliver that story because I saw some confusion there, guys.
I mean, either it doesn't.
I mean, she's right by seeing the confusion.
Yeah,
we are confused.
That said, look at the move. You're now into. Let me get rid of that. You don't need to see that ad. We're now into the 98.6 and almost. We're probably going to tag 99 at this rate. So as you're getting into this high, like if you like mean reversion setups, like a wick of a top on IBIT, this is a triple top. We've been to 100,000. We have yet to break 100,000. Obviously, everyone can see that. You got a steep sloping trend line. I mean, it's going to provide an opportunity here. I gave it up. I mean, I'm not sitting on the offer. I'm not going to say if it hits the high of the day, I'm going short. No, this is like NVIDIA in the afternoon. This is if it breaks trend, I'm going to look for that punch in, stop to the top, and play the mean revert. We got 40 minutes to the close. That's what I want to track here. And then you look at like PLTR, which had just scalped out. It was bouncing off of 68.5. It comes back into 69. It bounces off 68.75. Now it's continuing higher. You're kind of dragging all ships higher. And I get it. MSTR is going to be moving. Like MicroStrategy is going to fly. Like look at the move on MicroStrategy. It's getting very parabolic. Hence why my thought is not chase when I see a move like this. My thought is be patient, try to find a setup for reversion, because where's your out if you chase the move on MSTR or even like MAR, which isn't at the 26 yet. MAR is actually, it's breaking out, but it's not at $26 yet. So I'm looking directly, might as well just be looking at IBIT. You know, you can look at one of the proxies, but if we do get up to that 99,000 where we've curled a couple times, then I want to look for the mean revert specifically right here on Bitcoin. You know, especially if you break 99,000, maybe go 99.5 and then pull back in there, that's going to provide a scalp shorting opportunity for sure. So you're getting an obvious move, which is led by, regardless of what you think of the story, you know, the catalyst is very real here. And Bitcoin next week, it seems to want to make this run at 100,000 today, as far as I'm concerned. So we'll give it, I mean, at the end of the day, if it gets there and there is a curl, then I want to play it.
I mean, I don't think the Microsoft story has anything to do with it. I think that what we talked about was the strategy that I gave to everybody out there. We know that there's a lot of huge hedge fund managers and everybody watching, Kathy Wood especially, watching Trader TV Live right now. And I said that strategy. Remember we talked about that right before we went, right, Joe? Right before we went on, and this sort of went on this move. I mean, Bitcoin wasn't here. It was right here. And I said, hey, guys, what about just buying it and getting out when and if it ever breaks that 90,000? Of course, I'm just joking, but right up there to 98,000. There's the break of the high of the day, 97 and change. And you just move up $2,000 since that point happened as well. So it looks like Bitcoin right now will break 100, and you're in the right spot right now because I will trade that. That break, I'm watching it right now, 98 and change. I'm actually embarrassed that we're on. Like, how could I be embarrassed that right now, Neil, we have a 50-cent winner right now? Let's hit that sirens. We sent this up on, oh, wow, there goes SMCI. Was just at 80. Actually, hold on, that's IBIT. Here's SMCI right now. We've been buying this dip, right? I mean, there's the dip down into the 200 period moving average. Again, the trade that we put on here into the afternoon. We like the stock. We like the trade. It's SMCI. And again, trying to find something that's moving, although we've been wrong. It's not necessarily moving. SMCI right now doing its own damn thing, but our best outs there into the 80s. I like that stock. NVIDIA, meanwhile, is just a $1, $2, $3, $4, $5 winner right now on NVIDIA. So we'll make sure we get some of that out right there at 145.60. TQ's still bottom to top. That's still going higher. I keep just getting out, like, because I think, like, oh my God, if we're going to break this 50 period, but look at the 50 period moving average, just continue to ride momentum. We say that trading is a difficult game, but I find like it's pretty easy if you actually play momentum and you just trade the names that are hot, the names that are moving, put on the right amount of risk, get in and get out. That's how you can have this. I had something like 12 and a half years of no negative months. And I just think that that's, We've had some negative months over the last couple of months, last couple of years, I guess, but we had a great run, and we'll look to continue to do that. And a part of that is because discipline, right? It's about making sure that you have the ins, the outs, and you have the right strategies where you can trade
and on that line
and take advantage of those things. Yeah,
like one of those things is as simple as this. I'm short 68.90 on Palantir, break 69, that's my out. No averaging. I don't know if there's a story.
Like
on
it's an L, but it's not a huge one, right? That's
it's flat. It's a flat trade. Well, it's a flat trade because I took some profit. If I never took any profit, then it would be an L. Now, that being said, there might actually be a story on Palantir right now. I haven't, I'm plugged in. I haven't heard anything.
Plugged in too. This guy's not reporting anything.
That's a pretty large volume spike. Usually it's accompanied by something. I'm going to make an assumption that there, oh, that was MicroStrategy. No, As I was saying, I didn't hear anything. I heard MicroStrategy in my ear, but let's be real. That's just, what is .ax and why is it going to that first? Alphabetical.
We have Australia. Maybe.
No, I know. It's just, okay, anyways.
You're trading MicroStrategy in Australia, Neil?
So here's what I'll do. I'll show you that you're getting a little bit of the first pullback here on IBIT while you're also at the 26 on Mara. So you can pick your poison here. I decided that I wanted to look directly at IBIT. I have level 2 up, but this is going to have to finish loading this. But you are getting the first shot at a reversion on IBIT as we speak. So it looks like it's making its first pullback. The high currently sits at 56.46, probably adjacent to the 99 level. I mean, you can pull it up. I have it on Binance, which I'm not trusting as much. I'm going to go with TradingView. TradingView had it higher than Binance. Binance is saying 98.58. I think it's actually over 96, but that's fine. So you're getting your first pullback here since we had that parabolic move up. Simple. First shot, you break the trend, stop at the high of the day. Risk is going to be with slippage, probably 15 pennies on IBIT. Maybe a little bit more because I like to give it to the even. All right, maybe now it'll load. There's got to be a story on Palantir, by the way.
I don't know. I mean,
That's a big
I was just looking at that too. Palantir's done these moves. I mean, I don't know if there. I mean, I'm more worried about what this story was right here. What happened? What happened at 2 o'clock, Adara?
It was an OpenAI note.
Okay, because
Adara has it.
All right, let's go to Adara.
I'm not seeing anything new here on Palantir. There's a bit of conversation on social media, though actually a lot of it is bearish. There are a lot of tweets going on that people shouldn't be pumping Palantir because it's likely to drop 50% over the next year. So that does not explain this pump up. It's also worth noting this volume is not super huge on the 15-minute chart either. Slight increase from a previous candle, but nothing compared to that drop at 2 p.m. Now, what was the story at 2 p.m.? Basically, we had the Wall Street Journal reporting that OpenAI is now entering the AI drone space, now working with Anduril, which is a known drone company. It's agreeing to put its technology, AI technology, into drone defense systems for Anduril. Now, if you know, Palantir is actually involved in a lot of government contracts. They just announced more government authorization as of yesterday. So that could be a bit of a threat here for PLTR with OpenAI entering one of its main domains there, guys. Again, not seeing any reason for that pop to the upside. If I do see anything, I'll let you know. But that is a refresher as to what happened for that drop.
All right, Adara. Great update. I mean, that's exactly what we're talking about there. Thank you, Adara, for clarifying all that. I mean, what an addition that role has been to the show. I mean, we have any clarifications, we throw it right over there. Adara breaks it down perfectly. And that's part of the, it's funny because I was talking with Adara, I probably even yesterday, and it's like, a year and a half, 2 years ago, Adara in the stock market, I mean, I don't have to speak for her. She said this on the show. It's like, okay, that's nice. And now, I heard her talking to Sharif earlier. It's like she's talking about Larry Ellison and all of these guys. It's like a year and a half ago, it's like, Larry Ellison, who the hell is that? And now it's like she knows his hair color and all that kind of stuff. So shout out to getting the best information and trying to give you guys, you know, the best of what we're doing.
He's an OG out there.
Yeah, for sure. So
the growth is amazing, though.
Yeah, exactly. So shout out there to Miss Dara. Okay, just real quickly, we've been getting out of SMCI on that move up. I mean, the market, I feel like the only thing really moving right now that we should really be long in is either NVIDIA or the market or looking at Bitcoin, because right now the NASDAQ continues to push highs. I mean, we are still in at the bottom of the day on the NASDAQ, and I'm getting lighter and lighter, man. We don't have that many shares left. We have 4% left. Like, honestly, I try to hold 10%. We get some out when we're happy with it. It's still going higher, and the reason why we got out there at 86, we can zoom this back out right there. I mean, we've already made that July high. And again, the Wix, whatever, this is a triple levered ETF, right? So, I mean, is it really an ETF? I don't know. But at the end of the day here, it's triple levered against the NASDAQ. So we were really liking this level. That's 84.70. We have 84.50. We have the bottom. Now it's up to the top, which is why we're starting to get some out. There's only a half hour left in the day. We can take a look at these imbalances right now. They're only going to be New York based imbalances. I mean, Enbridge every day is on there, and then we talk about blah, blah, blah. We all own Enbridge because we're Canadian. But at the end of the day, Enbridge is there as a buy. As you look through this list, there's not a whole heck of a lot interesting me right now. But at the end of the day, Nike. We'll wait for, Nike's there, BAC, XOM. We saw some oil numbers come through today. Those were pretty good at the end of the day, but oil there now down. We'll see what's going on. Wow, XOM down 3%. When's the last time we saw this from XOM? Oh my gosh. Okay, where's Randy? Probably left. Now, I don't know. We were supposed to get this major storm today. We got like half an inch and it's gone.
Nothing.
Like, it's not even, but walking down Bay Street, first of all, you know, it's a good thing I have some girth to me, because like that wind, I'm surprised Neil and Brendan didn't get blown away. That was quite the corridor there of wind coming through. So I feel,
there was like a little dusting or a little bit of ice. And then with the wind, I was like, don't slip, Neil. Yeah, I'm like literally one slip away from aggravating.
We didn't want to take an Uber back because we knew that Joe and Sharif, these guys could handle it. So we decided to walk back.
We didn't take an Uber because it was pointless. By the time you wait for it, we were not that far away.
Someone's asking, what does Brendo do off air now? Well, he leans against the screen.
This is exactly what Brendan's doing.
He looks at the numbers. He says, what exactly is Sean talking about, and how can we send him a compensation package to get him out of here?
He's literally
he does stuff like that, and you know, I'm waiting for that still. You know, the retirement package. Where's that golden parachute? But no, Brendan now executive producing. Yeah, and what Brendan will do right now is, you know, look at trying to make the show better. We're trying to grow the show. There he is right there. Looking at the numbers right there. Hi, Brendan. How's it going, Brendan? Everyone's missing Brendan. He's telling Ramin, get those likes going. They got the chat going on. But, you know, this is the thing. The evolution of Trader TV Live, right? We realize right now that we gotta give you guys more things. We're doing those shorts. We're doing, we tried out the podcast. Maybe that's coming back. We've got a few new things coming. We've got some education videos coming through. We've got the... what am I looking at? We've got the chat right there.
This is epic strategy.
This is the new strategy right now. The chat on screen. What's this guy saying? Down here in New Jersey. Oh, yeah.
Minus 19.
This is a beef of mine that I have, and it's probably because I'm very proud to be Canadian.
Oh,
like, we're watching that Sunday night football game, and you and I, we used to have season tickets, Neil and I. We've been to some crazy games in Buffalo where snow has been insane, even more than even on Sunday night.
The Derrick Henry,
Miami.
The Travis Henry 200-yard game.
Right, so there was that Tennessee? Was Travis Henry, where was he? Oh, no, Buffalo, right?
It was in Buffalo.
Miami. Yeah, I think it was Ricky Williams. Ricky Williams had a big day.
Yeah.
Like, it was a complete... People could not sit in their seats this last Sunday in Buffalo, shoveling it out. There was nothing here. Like, honestly, in Toronto, we had no snow. It was like +5. It was gorgeous. And my beef is that everybody says, oh, you guys are in Canada. Where's the igloos, eh? You know, are we about that? Like, what's going on with igloos? We don't. I have an igloo, yeah.
1/3 of Canada lives like south of the most northern point of the U.S.
The thing is that the helipad could not rest on the igloo, so I had to get rid of it.
Well, that's always a problem.
Yeah, it's always a problem. But at the end of the day, man, I mean, Minnesota, parts of Michigan, Ohio. We talked about there's a couple of Thursdays ago. It's funny how I relate everything to football. There's a couple of Thursdays ago there. What's up to Raider Trader there, the CEO of Ohio? That where.
God damn.
I can't even do this with this. You all right over there? All right. So at the end of the day.
I told you what happened.
What I'm getting at, though, is our weather's fine over here. All right, so XOM, nice downside move. And I don't know, you want to become the 51st state? I mean, look, if state tax is going to be zero, I'm down.
Joke.
I mean, can we have the Florida tax system up in our 51st state?
I like things as they are.
You know?
That being said, look, someone asked in the chat there, like, what's going on with the markets?
Look, you know Ohio's bad when Matt C goes,
Ohio's
I just
great.
got home from Ohio, reminds me why I love Florida.
I love them both.
I'm going to leave it at that.
Most Canadians, most real Canadians are Buffalo Bills fans or Big Ten fans for obvious reasons, right? So, like, you grow up liking the teams that are close.
There he is. This is Donald J. He tweeted this out yesterday or on Instagram. I saw it, obviously.
That's probably not even really the Rockies.
The funny thing, Neil, come on, I was just going to say that. People are like, oh my God, that's an AI picture. You think that's an AI?
I'm joking.
No, I know you are, but I'm just saying, like, people are like, and I saw that on Twitter and on Instagram, they're like, that's AI. Like, look, there it is. Anything on here? Someone probably be saying it right there. Anyways, at the end, make Canada great again. Ooh, I like that logo, that slogan.
I don't disagree with that statement.
Anyways, I think Trudeau, obviously, we're not talking politics too much, but there probably is going to be a change of government at some point in Canada.
I have to watch myself because my mom has, like, she loves...
She's pure liberal?
No, so you have to understand that, like, when my parents came to the country, his father, Pierre Elliott Trudeau,
was very popular.
Was incredibly popular. So there's an entire segment of the population here that, I mean, the guy is essentially royalty. So clearly his son had no chance but to win. So I got to watch myself what I say.
Apparently, if you ask, I mean, good point.
I got to change the subject quickly.
No,
Bitcoin's not at 100,000, by the way. I saw in the chat there just now. BTC is not at 100,000, Wasim. It's close. It got to 99. So I'm going to go, from now on, I'm looking at my trading view because I think it's a little bit more accurate. It got to 99,000, and that was the mean revert. It caught a bid. The only red candle on a 1 minute on a BTC chart was right in here at 98.25. So just to give you the price action there, I'm going to go over because we trade IBIT. When it got there, there's your bounce off 56. So scalp into that level. If it can put in a lower high, maybe your retest of 56 makes sense. At this point, stop goes from high to lower high, and it can't turn into a losing trade. But that's a mean reversion idea at the end of the day. Like, it had not been putting in red candles. It puts in a red candle. Like, the second you get the break of the trend line, you're in. Your stop is at the high. First resistance was in here. It's 56 on IBIT, but I was just showing you what the prices were. They're in BTC. If you happen to be trading that, let's go over to Adara.
What we're going to do here is what we do every day here around 2 p.m. We're going to take a look at some of these larger movers to the upside and downside in the S&P 500 during Power Hour. Now, it's worth noting here, because we're so strong on the Qs, I wanted to look at names that were actually trading lower on the day with Catalyst. And we're going to start off here with AbbVie, which is down about 3% right now, actually at lows of day. Catalyst I found on this was the fact that there was a downgrade here for Elector by B of A Securities. So Elector actually was working here with AbbVie. AbbVie was supposed to give Elector a $250 million opt-in milestone for one of its trials. Unfortunately, the results from that trial weren't very good. So now B of A Securities is thinking this AbbVie is unlikely to actually be using its milestone for Elector. So basically, Elector downgrading, sending AbbVie to the downside, it looks like, in sympathy. Then we have PLTR, which has actually recovered a little bit, still down about 2% right now. That push to the downside came after Wall Street Journal reported that OpenAI is now kind of stepping into Palantir's shoes. Palantir does a lot of drone and military-based AI work. Now OpenAI reportedly collaborating with Anduril to put its technology into the company's drone defense system. And last but not least, we have really any of the oil tickers. Here's XOM, which is just trying to get a bounce here on the 15-minute chart. You could look at Oxy. You could look at Chevron, any of these tickers. They're all trading lower here in sympathy with oil and gas. There's a lot of volatility in this space ahead of the OPEC supply decision on Thursday. There's also, of course, been a lot of ongoing changes in oil with the conflict in the Middle East. So keep an eye on these oil stocks, which have been moving lower today, guys.
Thank you very much, Adara. And if you're scanning for trading opportunities, if you're looking to step your game up as a trader, then eSignal is for you. You're looking to trade smarter, not harder. That's what the game is all about here, everybody. whether you're looking for scanners that you can find trading opportunities, whether you're looking for ways in which to engage indicators, if you like moving averages, great. If you like Bollinger Bands, great. They're all there for you. You want real-time data on multiple time frames, eSignal's got it for you. Now, if you want to take those strategies and see if they're actually going to be profitable, you're talking about the best back testing available in the market with eSignal. So take your strategy, back test it, forward test it, which is something people don't do a lot of or enough of, I do think, and then put it to test in the wild with some confidence. The other thing you got to think about is tick replay. We talk about it all the time. Key level breaks. 9:30 when things are going crazy. Maybe you're in multiple trades and you didn't get a chance to look at that tape. Well, replay it back, and you can use tick replay to refine your trading and your executions. Check out the QR code you see right in front of you, or just check the link in the description. eSignals, tech your game up a little bit. So first of all, I'm going to show you, we move our stop to break even when you hit first support, right? So we get break even out on IBIT. Now you're retesting the highs. Now I heard a story about Intel just now, and then I looked over, and there's no name on this. All the story I'm seeing is Intel executive says core strategy remains intact. Core strategy remains intact. So, and I don't want to throw shit. Your core strategy remains intact. I'm going to go out on a limb for everybody here, and sometimes you got to put yourself on a limb. I'm going to suggest that's not what people want to hear right now. I do not want to hear that Intel's core strategy remains intact. I want to hear leadership come in and say, we screwed up. We need to make a change. We need a new direction. This is how we're going to catch up technologically and not be like a million nanometers behind. Again, well, not a million, it's like 2, right? Like everyone's at 5, they're at 7. Everyone's at 3, they're at 5. It's essentially how it works. But you get what I'm saying. We're going to be able to be profitable on this foundry play at some point, or spin it off, or we're going to catch up in the AI game, and this is how we're going to do it. Not that our core strategy remains intact. I don't want to hear that nonsense from you, Intel. Okay, fine. Rich Naples, technically, I suppose I was throwing shade. Did I say I didn't want to throw shade at Intel and then did throw shade at them? I was being sarcastic. That's my defense, and I'm sticking to it. So yeah, Intel, that's not what anybody wants to hear. I don't care. That's not what anybody wants to hear. That's absolutely ridiculous as far as I'm concerned. And on that, whatever headline that was, it was a volume spike. It went up 10 cents. It came down 10 cents. Intel is still down 2 points on a day where the market made all-time highs and up 1%. On a day where the ES is also breaking highs. That's exactly what we end up getting. So I'm going to check back in on Bitcoin, which has been the biggest mover. And remember, on the way up, when we were going up, I'm like, I'm not chasing the move. I wanted the one reversion trade, and we took it. With only 20 minutes to go, I want to have a look at the imbalances in a quick little second, but I feel like the mean revert plays already happened, and I'm going to start looking at something like a Mara, because that 26 level on Mara, it also double tapped. And I'm noticing Mara made a better move than we saw on Bitcoin. So you got a great mean revert on all those BTC names, but Mara's at that $26 level. If it can't climb above, I'm thinking the same thing.
All right. By the way, since you were gone, I mean, look what happened to SMCI. It dropped right into, again, man, into a key spot. So let's get it out as we make the move back higher. Like, we just got long at 10s or 11s on SMCI. Like, some of these trades, man, just be patient and make sure you can get that all figured out. There it goes. Nice upside move on SMCI. We'll take advantage of that. Like, we can even zoom into that. You know, boom, 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 all the way back up to the 50-period moving average. So, again, in and some outs, in and some outs. To me, it's not rocket science, but it is science. All right, Amazon right now. Look at this bump up there as well. We have still a little small piece left in Amazon. We got something, we told you about 2%. We got some out there, 4%. We got some out there. We got some out there. We're trying to hold the same kind of thing here for the NASDAQ and for Amazon. Let's check out on our good friend Roblox. And then we're going to look at what's reporting later on tonight, right? Roblox right now up that 1.7%. We talked about this with Brian yesterday. And I want to say a big shout out to Brian. Thank you so much for coming on. I showed him my SMCI trading yesterday, and it was very, very kind words that he had. So thank you so much there for Brian Shannon, the best in the business. I want to thank him for continuing. Go check it out at Alpha Trends. One of the only, again, I always say this, But I read some Cole's notes in high school, so those are kind of some books. And then his book as well, the Anchored VWAP book. Really like VWAP and really like to trade off that. I think that's a very interesting thing to read if you guys are looking for some technical analysis. It's over on the desk. Maybe, is Adara over on the desk right now? Maybe when Adara gets a chance, you can hold up that book, but it's Maximum Trading Gains with an Anchored VWAP there by Brian Shannon. We want to thank him for continuously coming on the show there it is right there, yeah. So thanks for that. Adara and I had a great time. I mean, we love Brian Shannon. Thanks for the great questions yesterday. Adara asked him about one of the earnings plays. Great response there. And shout out to everybody there in the chat on the screen live right now. Now we can all see some of the questions that have been asked. The thing about the chat is though, make sure that you guys join the chat, because as part of the chat, we'll see it. We're going to answer questions of traders that are in there, talking everything stocks. We obviously like doing that. Join the chat. We'll hit you guys up ASAP. I like Roblox. I had another $15 purchase go through the other day on that name. All right, we said that we would look at, again, tonight will be Neil and Adara as Neil and I switch back and forth on the recap show. Tonight we have a decent numbers, right? 5 is going to be the 5 below. Synapsis, SNPS. Is Sprint still S?
No, that's Sentinel 1.
Sprint is gone, right? Sentinel
1. Is it Sentinel 1 tonight? Yeah.
How long ago was that? I go like, hey, I'm old. Just turned 30. All right, let's go over there. Charge point as well. What's up, Adara?
We're going to take a look here at INTC, which got its largest volume candle of the day here on the 5-minute. Say for some of these candles in opening, we do apologize. There is some data missing here on some of our charts. But basically, Intel catching a bit of a bid here as we get some comments from some of its executives at that UBS conference that's been going on right now. We do have this executive saying, amongst other things, that the foundry is going to be important to the semiconductor ecosystem and saying that they stand by their guidance that they gave at their earnings. So it looks like they're maintaining that guidance. Also said their core strategy does remain intact despite the fact that CEO Pat Gelsinger retired, or as reports suggest, was actually forced to step down. They also said that the new CEO is going to have some capability here around foundry and on the product side. So Intel really emphasizing their foundry business here in these comments made by executives at that UBS conference, guys, as we head into the last 15 minutes of the market.
Yeah, but it's still not profitable till 2025.
SMCI.
That's as far
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, when you're trying to buy some names, you got to try to figure out sort of what the push through is right now on all of that. Look at SMCI. Again, monster move. Let's just hit this. Let's hit this, and let's hit this. It's been a good trade. Right there, right off the open. It's SMCI. We like the stock. We like it a lot. Looks like it wants to continue to work higher. So we'll take that and we'll see what we can do with it. SMCI right now. Trying to go, what will it? I don't know. But we just got a bunch of outs up here, 60s, 70s, and 80s from a long 11. Let's put it up, man. It's a chicken dinner winner at 65 cents, 60 cents, sorry, in the money we just took there. Pretty happy to do that. Pretty proud to do that as well. So nice trade there for SMCI. Again, you guys log on here looking for trades. You know, I mean, I hope we're doing a good job discussing the market. We've already given a lot of, respect and credit to Adara because she's added so much as far as the news is concerned to our show and trading and just everything. But also, giving you guys, it's my job as a host here and as a trader to talk about some winning trades. And I mean, SMCI, you want to trade names that are a little bit moving, and you want to use some of these lines. We talked about anchored VWAP. That's just a straight VWAP there today. Good level there. What's up, my guy Andre over there? As we are now live with Trader TV, you can find us all over our socials at Trader TV Live, at Trader TV Sean, Neil, Adara, all of us pumping out right now. Look, Bitcoin right now is on one, man. I mean, Bitcoin is 99,000. What is the high of Bitcoin? We said it was 99.8 or something?
99.
99 flat? Okay.
I have 99, literally 99.
I don't know where this is coming from. So this is Bitcoin from TradingView. I'm not sure exactly the source that they use because there's Coinbase, there's Binance, there's all of that. That's 73,000. We're not even, okay, so that's 99.8. Yeah. So it looks like right now, the high, I know Neil just said 99, but we definitely have 99 or so. It looks like we have a little bit of a wick, and again, based on the exchange is what's going to matter. That little wick there is 99,807. So Bitstamp, I guess, is where they're getting it from. But it looks like we're trying, either way, all-time highs right now for BTC in on, and again, thanks to Adara, Microsoft news there. the board going to be discussing adding BTC, I guess, to their ledger there, find it as an asset class, put it on the balance sheet, I guess, and we'll see what goes on. The funny thing is, I thought Elon Musk, just for fun, at the beginning of all of this, was like, we're going to put on $1 billion or something on chain for Tesla. Yeah. I don't know if they're still holding Bitcoin or not, but they were one of the first companies here. I mean, look, we know that MSTR is probably, we're laughing at this at not laughing at it, but talking about it at 400. This name looks like it continues to want to go. Look, the thing about this is that I don't want to call it a hit piece because I don't think it was necessarily a hit piece. And the thing is, like, when you get some of those muddy waters,
but
some of those,
technically speaking, that's what they are.
Yeah,
the only difference is,
are they just opening your eyes to, you know, what the reality might be?
I don't have any beef with short sellers. I have zero beef. It's just a matter of I don't know any that open their position at the same time that they're giving their, like, this is what we believe, and now we're opening the position. It's always, we were probably long 3 months ago. Oh, by the way, it's now dropped 10, 20%, and here's our thesis as to why it should go lower. That's my only beef. That just seems a little bit like, okay, like, if you're an analyst, I'd love them to just be analysts who put money on the line. So, okay, we're selling it for this reason, and we're giving our reason why we think it's a sell, and we're in the position. Not stock has dropped from $80 to $55. Oh, by the way, here's our short seller report, and then when everyone tanks it that day, we're now covering for, you know, our 30% gain or something like that. That's my beef with short sellers. So I know when people say hit piece, it's technically not that.
No, I was just getting at the fact. No, I mean, I think you're right. That's what I was saying. It's not really a hit piece. No, it's just the fact that MSTR, despite what I was sort of trying to mention there a little bit, obviously that's the split, so we don't have to consider that. I'm just looking right over here on my chart. Let me zoom in a little bit more just so you guys can see. And the fact is, what I was getting at is like, they were already up here to 555, 530 and change, right? And then we got that their net asset value. If you sort of add up all the value of their Bitcoin and then divide it by the price of their stock, you're a little lower than where we are right now, and that you're paying a quite a large premium if you go Bitcoin times price and then look at the market cap of MSTR. So that was just one of those things where, again, I'm not doing the math, someone did. So whether or not you trust MSTR or Bitcoin itself, I think that we've seen a huge record amounts of inflows in the last month into all of these ETFs, including IBIT, including GBTC, whatever's out there. HODL is another one. There's ARC-B or whatever the Bitcoin one is as well. As we continue to look at this, right, the more Bitcoin that's bought, the more that these ETFs have to go in there. Like, if you're going to buy 1,000 shares of IBIT, they need to make sure that they have in their pocket $1,000 worth of Bitcoin to offset that. So they're running to the exchanges, which is why you see a name like Coinbase. And again, Coinbase is sort of the custodial of all of this. I mean, there's going to be obviously some coins that are being held on Binance. We talked about that. There's a couple different exchanges there, including Mara.
And balances are out.
Oh, shoot, 350 already?
First of all, you just broke 26. Okay. I got out of ones on Mara when it broke to 26. We like that level. But there's a big imbalance on FXI here. 5.1 million shares to sell on FXI. There's Apple, 2 million to the buy side. There's Cisco, 1.6 million to the buy side. Microsoft, 1.5 million to the buy side. That's an early one. Yeah, GLT is 100,000 to sell. Sorry, $1 million to sell. It's Lucid, 900,000 is actually cracking me up because that's actually nothing on Lucid. It's a $2 stock. But the big one is going to be Apple 1, Microsoft 1.5. Where'd FXI go? Of course,
it's gone.
Yeah, it was just there. FXI, it was like 5 million a second ago. I'm going to keep an eye on that just in case it does want to pop back up. We've seen this before. Remember, there was a couple of days where you had FXI go absolutely crazy into the close on imbalances. Yeah, it's not really moving in here, so maybe it is going to be a nothing burger.
By the way,
a spoofer. Maybe. I don't know.
Money.
We need to go out for lunch some more. You know, since we've been back, I think I've tripled my net maybe. Look at SMCI. It's now $1 in the month. This is the only trade that's been actively put on, I think, this afternoon. I know you just had one there in Was it Mara? You had some Palantir. We had some Soundhound, sorry. That was on as
Reversion,
well.
IBIT.
IBIT, yeah, IBIT, huge move. We talked about trading names that are moving around. And look at this right now. Huge move in SMCI, now $1 in the money. We talked about trading the names that make some sense, that are moving around. Looks like we got that right now with SMCI. Huge move right now to the upside on those imbalances. Look, man, I took 450, my bad, on NVIDIA there. Like, monster trade today, NVIDIA, we like it a lot. The NASDAQ right now, low of the day. How often, I mean, I don't know. This doesn't happen to me that often. You get the low of the day and the high of the day. So right there, low of the day on NASDAQ. We'll put an offer out right there. Get the high of the day as well. In and out there on NASDAQ as we wait to see the next play. So that's basically what we're dealing with. I think it's 350. Well, not I think it is 353 right now. We talked about some of those plays that might come into the imbalance. Cisco right now, old but new tech. Again, you know, nice move for Cisco over the last little while. I don't know where my charts are going, but there it is. Nice move, trying to break out through highs as well. Most of the NASDAQ is going to be at highs anyways. We talked about TLT. I actually want to look at that because CEO of Ohio there talked about TLT going higher. Apple pretty flat with a buy imbalance. Let me just see there. I just kid about Andrew Rader, but great kid. We love having that guy on. Maybe this Friday he'll join us on the recap show. But he's talked about this. He's really liked TLT there. The minute that the 10 years crossed 4.2, which I believe has, we talked about that yesterday, has happened. I don't know if it's back down. Actually, I don't have the page loaded up. We'll check that out maybe tomorrow. But right now, TLT trying to go back upside. Nice day here. And this is the 20-year treasury, right? Is it 20 or 10 for TLT? Hold on a second. It's 20 years. So 20-year treasury right here, bonds, upside right now for that. I just heard something about Intel. Not Intel on Brazil, of course. Oh, and we're really excited. I mean, we talked about that as well. Blue Ocean, let's go Intel. Yeah, Blue Ocean has been a big success there, especially here. Come on, Intel. Intel's at 22. Wow, it broke 22 today. Why didn't we look at, oh wow, Intel started the day 22.70. So we had written this down as a short, but didn't realize how aggressively short it was. Nice move there for Intel today. Now up a little bit into the close, but down that 2%. No, I just want to finish my thought. Like that moon, I mean, there's been a lot of trading. We showed you guys that on the day of the election, we had some big movers, and I think it was
the top 7. I think were all.
That's what I was going to say. I was going to say 5 of the top 10, but even better, 5 of the top 7 there were all on after hours trading. And I think that as President Trump, January 20th, as he comes into office there, he's already basically pointed the gun at many different industries and many different countries. I feel like there's going to be some great overnight trading opportunities, both in the futures and in individual 100%. Names in the next, can we say 4 years?
We got a couple of super chats in here.
Yeah, sure.
And I know, Tisha, we did talk about CYCN a couple times, and probably not enough. I understand that. You saw what was going on with BTC, and when BTC makes it run at 100,000, it's going to capture a lot of attention. But Vasily was asking about earnings today. Now, we got the aftermarket in 4 minutes. I'm going to finish this and get right up onto the desk to get ready for it, everybody, to join Adara for the desk. But we do have a few interesting names. Obviously, after the bell, I'm just going to go to Earnings Whisper. It's easier to show you. Sentinel One, Five Below, Charge Point. Those are 3 biggies, but I wanted to point out Encino that's going to be reporting after the bell. If there's going to be any relaxation on regulation when it comes to finance names, and Encino that does a lot of work, they have all their biggest clients are the banks. I think that could be an interesting name worth watching. So we're going to get them rapid fire, and Five Below's right at 4 o'clock. Sentinel One's not till 4:10, but there's a heck of a lot to watch here. American Eagle also going to be another name. But as I said, I got to get on over to the desk. Seriously? It's hilarious. No, it's just like I pull back over to Intel, and what just happened? Red candle right back. You joked about it being over 22, and the second you pull it up, it's right back into the lows. It's still a short to pop stock as far as I'm concerned. It was said, I'm going to get back to the desk. Bitcoin is at 99,003. I feel like Coinbase is the best. I was looking at it on my phone. I trust that the most. From now on 100,000 watch, I'm just watching it on my phone on Coinbase from now on. I feel like that's the most accurate.
Yeah, I don't think 100,000. I mean, honestly, I think like psychologically, obviously 100,000 is going to be a big level. But at the end of the day, Most of us will be trading ETFs throughout the day, but if you are holding Bitcoin, I mean, does it really matter what level we really get to here with IBIT over the next little while, or with Bitcoin? I mean, I think that 99 or 100, I mean, it's the same. You know, if I told you that Disney was at $98 or $99, I think people would be like, yeah, well, whatever. It's somewhere anyways, right? And so I think that that's like what I'm sort of where I'm at right now with Bitcoin. It is eventually going to break it, and when it does, it's going to be fantastic. And I just think that there it is right now, up to 99,000 and change. As Neil said, I'm just using TradingView, and I'm sure that you can pick what exchange you want to look at, but there it is right there. Get ready. I mean, make sure you join us on the Market Recap Show. Neil's going to have Bitcoin, and so is Adara. They're going to have it up over there on their charts. We'll be talking all about that. There is a chance that we do break that 100,000 in the next half hour, and you do want to see the action that it does have there. Of course, you guys can zoom in, find whatever charting software you want, but I'm using TradingView right now to look at BTC. All right, so what's reporting tonight? We do have a couple different names that we wanted to look at. What about Five Below, FIVE? Just a quick little look there. And we can run through all the markets right now if we wanted to as well. The NASDAQ up 1.23%, ES up 0.6%. So a great day market-wise there today. TradingView will give us a different idea of different names that have been upside. We've had Amazon starting to cruise a little bit higher right now. And continuously going. Tomorrow, I don't know if we have too many numbers out tomorrow for you guys, but I was just trying to look up TradingView for some of these sort of the screeners that we had going on there for that. But right now, Amazon 218. The interesting thing about Amazon bouncing off that 220 area, so that would be something that we would consider there tomorrow. If we break above 220 or open up anywhere near it, you know, that's going to definitely be on El Capitan's radar there tomorrow as we look for some AMZN. All right, with only a few minutes left, hey man, on the TQQ, we're pretty happy that we have the top, but looks like we have the bottom and the top. We'll make sure to get something out right now as we have to clear out of our positions heading into the close. So I'm gonna offer right now 25s, hopefully, oopsies, that's Fannie Mae. There's SMCI. There's TQ. We were looking at Fannie Mae with Jeff before. There's TQQ, nice upside trade. Boom to boom. We'll go the beginning trade of the day right there at 840 all the way up to the end of the day right now as well. Amazon and then SMCI with a little bit of a pullback, but we have very, very few shares. I better get on the right. You know, yesterday I was hitting the recap show, all these kind of things, but right now we do have the countdown on, and it's Adara, and she's in the blue today. Blue's like a neutral level for the stock market. Would have been green, up 1.2%. 3, 2, and 1. All righty there. All right, we are now closed. I want to thank everybody. I want to thank Jeff Mendel for coming through. Hey, look, Spark Shop. Look, this is why I do it. I'm sitting here for everybody, but I'm also sitting here for myself. I don't know if that sounds selfishly there, but this means a lot to me. Go to the screen. Thank you, Spark Shop. Sean, absolutely awesome trades today. Thank you so much, Spark Shop. Oh, it's right there on the chat. My bad. You can see it there in the top right. Thank you so much for that, Spark Shop. I mean, that means a lot that you're trying to follow and look at some of those trades. It's sometimes difficult to find all of that. But all right, SMCI. We were talking about Five Below. That might be the first one to come through and report. I can't believe this is $106. Look at this stock, $82 up to 104. Looks like it wants to beat, but it's been pretty excited. Without, if we're ready. Yeah, we're ready. All right. Thanks, Brendan, today. Thanks, Joe over there. Thank you to Sharif. Thank you to Jeff for coming through. Thank you to Adara. Neil, great trading by Neil today. Fabian, Ramin, everybody. Andre's over there as well. Hey, look, if you're in the Greater Toronto area, please have a good, safe trip home. Apparently the snow has stopped, which is great, and it stopped at 10 a.m. From everybody here at Trader TV Live on the main show, thank you for watching. But for right now, stay tuned. You're going over to the market recap where you get all the live earnings right away with Neil and Adara. We'll see you then. See you tomorrow. Ciao.
Thank you very much there, Sean. And you cannot make this up. Five just reported and went exactly $5 down. I'm telling you, sometimes it's funny like that, but you're at $105 on Five Below, and you just bounced off 100 even. It just bounced back into the 103 on Five. I haven't seen the numbers just yet as we get this set up, but it looks like they've named a new chief executive officer effective the 16th. So Five Below has named Winnie Park Chief Executive Officer effective the 16th. And maybe that was the initial move down because now Five Below is 20 above. It's got a new name, $122. So it looks like the bounce down might have been on that announcement of the new CEO, and then they give the financial results, and you're at $125. Are you kidding me? That is exactly why you cannot overreact to the initial move. The earnings weren't out yet. You just broke the highs. Into 129 is the high, back into 120. Crazy move there in Five. As I said, announced a new CEO, dropped $5. Bounced, broke $30 from the bottom here on Five. So you're starting off with some fireworks. Obviously, I'm going to make sure I still have my Coinbase locked and loaded just on the off chance we're underneath 99,000, but you never really know. If we break 100,000, I want to make sure we see it. But it's a big move here on Five. Do you actually have?
Yeah, I have the numbers.
The numbers? Let's see the numbers here, Dara.
I do. So we have adjusted earnings. This is actually a great report, guys. Adjusted earnings here of 42 cents per share versus 17 cents expected. What a beat. Now, what about sales, you may ask? Well, these sales are up about 14.6% year over year. They reported sales of $843.71 million versus estimates of $798.58 million. That is also quite the beat. And I also want to mention here, I just looked up Winnie Park. Winnie Park is the CEO of Forever 21. So very similar space to Five Below. Seems like a good fit for the company. We'll have to see how that transition goes. But best of luck to Winnie Park in her new role as Five Below CEO. People clearly like it because, as Neil said, they're right now about, more than 5 above, about 10, 12 above. So good look here for Five Below. Let's see if they stay that way, though, tomorrow.
Well, fireworks were expected here. The expected move being 16%. Obviously, you never, when it moved $5, you knew that the numbers weren't exactly out because you were looking at way more fireworks expected than that. So the fact that you go up to 120 from a break of the high at 105, that's going to be in pocket. Now, obviously, it made more of an extended move, but it's got a hold there. So you're getting a bit of a pullback here in Five. Still a great look. If we zoom it out a little bit, this is another one of these names off of the lows. Anybody can try to pick a bottom, but if you were just guessing at where the bottom was on Five Below, then you're a million under the water as far as I'm concerned. Now you're actually making higher lows and you've broken out of resistance on a catalyst. The 200 period, pretty much exactly where we bounced off of. We got to 119, so the high is looking like that 200 period moving average for Five. And the good thing about it is even if it were to pull back, you could go all the way back to our 105 level and still be above prior resistance here. So all this really has to do to maintain is stay green on Five Below. So a good look here as well. I just saw Encino might have reported their numbers. They're not a huge name.
Oh, Synopsys just tanked.
Oh, Synopsys also tanked. Encino just did a bit of a dipsy-do here where it ran up a little bit and then pulled back in. I think their numbers are out. It looks like, Encino's not a very large company, but revenues are up 14% year over year. They also had subscription revenues up 14% a year, but they're not really making much of a move. Did you say Synopsys is tanked?
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Why can't we just have good things?
I'm looking at these Encino's results right now. Yeah, revenue up 14% year over year, sub revenue up 14% year over year, as Neil said. I'm not seeing those compared to estimates, but I can take us over SNPS.
Yeah,
those estimates nasty. I do have ready. So they recorded apparently this is record quarterly revenue for them. So they beat a record here. It's $1.636 billion. Analysts were looking for $1.63 billion, so they beat by a hair. This revenue here, they said, exceeded the midpoint of guidance, so it looks like they did miss a higher point of some guidance. We know that, I guess it looks like they missed their own guidance. So that was up, though, 11% year over year. They did have GAAP earnings per share here of $3.40, beating estimates of $3.30. So yeah, they did beat here on sales, but they missed their own guidance, which is never really a great look. Though they did beat on earnings per share. I'm going to see if I can synopsize the synopsis report for you guys. I'm going to continue reading through it. But we do have some other earnings later today as well, including Sentinel One, ChargePoint, and American Eagle, which actually didn't have an expected time. It just said that it's going to be reporting after the bell.
American Eagle appoints when American Eagle reports.
It flies on its own path.
They do their own thing. Now, that's not a very good look on Synopsys, but you got to look. So to keep in mind, 8% expected move on Synopsys. It's not down that much. So clearly, a $500 stock down $30 isn't going to look good. But you were expecting an 8% move, which would bounce it off of the 50 period. it did just catch a bid off of 520 and is bouncing a little bit higher. So it did get down to that expected move. And we see time and time again, if you don't push through there, usually there's an initial bounce if you can stay underneath that expected move. AEO is not, well, it's out, but some of the longs are also out of this stock as well, apparently.
So here they have total net revenue of $1.3 billion. That is in line with estimates, but it declined by 1%. Apparently, they did have about $45 million worth of adverse impact from retail calendar shifts. So it looks like some retail calendar issues. They said it's actually record sales here for their Aerie unit for Q3, and their Aerie comparable sales grew about 5%. So that unit is doing pretty well. They let me see. Here's the actual numbers. So they have adjusted earnings of 48 cents per share, not seeing how that compares to estimates. And then, like we said, they did have a year-over-year decrease in their revenue. So looks like that American Eagle has crash landed for the time being, not flying quite yet.
Ooh, that's a good one. See, I was just going to go with the Eagle has landed. But given the fact that we haven't made a bottom yet, then I don't think you can say the Eagle has landed. Now, if you're looking at this, a lot of retail stocks have looked this way. You're channel down. So once again, any single pop has been faded on American Eagle. That's happened for some time. The good news for traders out there, and I saw in the chat, I just saw Ali in the chat right here. I know you meant stocks. Are you guys watching for tomorrow? Well, I'll tell you this. The rebound play on stocks, retail stocks down 10%. Chewy gave a very ridiculously clean bounce off an even dollar level when it went to short sell restricted. Foot Locker gave a very clean mean reversion off the lows when it was short sell restricted. If American Eagle goes down 10%, I'm watching that stock for a couple of reasons. One, Nadera, it could go down 10% BSSR bounce. Also, you've only got one support level on the stock, and it's at 17 bucks.
Yeah.
So if you're down at 17 or in front of 17, you'd have to be SSR at that point, and you've got one line in the sand. All bets are off if you get underneath that. I want to give one good word for American Eagle. So this is me saying something nice about them. The good news is you're not at the COVID lows. If you're beneath or at the COVID lows, you're in a world of hurt. So the good news is if you look at this from a weekly standpoint, it's like a temporary setback on a bit of an upward trend. But that said, it's still kind of broken. The market's at those highs, and American Eagle, as we said, now down 9%. So at this point, you've now broken through 18. 17 is your support on the daily. I think as a trader, oftentimes you just look for an opportunity. I mean, heck, man, I faded BTC because it was parabolic for a very clean reversion trade. That's what I would look for here with American Eagle. It's not to catch a falling knife. It's to find that trend reversal if you can tomorrow. Not looking very good. And I did see Uzi and a couple of people have asked about Sentinel-1. We're expecting them at 410. So that should be any second now. Sentinel-1 is obviously out because that just... Okay, as we speak, it went 29 to 27 to 26. Sentinel-1 is absolutely tanking here. So I guess the bid is not very secure for Sentinel-1, unfortunately. So this cybersecurity name getting absolutely punished to the downside. Trying to bounce off 25 here. That's underneath the 50 period. There is support at $25 on the daily chart. Hopefully, the 200 period doesn't come into play at 23 bucks. But Sentinel-1 is out, and it is not a good response from them. Getting absolutely shellacked here. Down 5 points. That said, we said it before, expected move was 13%. So you can be down a bunch, but it can still be less than what was expected. Maybe not the worst in the world. I think that 23 is going to set up for a good support zone there. Unfortunately, not looking good for Sentinel-1, but it could be a heck of a lot worse. ChargePoint's also out.
Yeah, ChargePoint getting a nice pop to the upside here. They reported gap losses of 18 cents per share here. That's going to be exactly in line with estimates here. Sales actually, though, are going to be a beat. $99.612 million versus estimates here of $89.845 million. As of the last time I checked, I still don't even have like Sentinel's report. And I don't even mean their summary. I don't even have like the report yet for Sentinel-1 yet on Benzinga, so I'm keeping my eyes out. Let's take a look at ChargePoint because I believe they had a short float CHPT. Okay, if I could type it. 33% short float. That is correct. So CHPT, massive short float to be aware of.
Just another thing for ChargePoint, it's not just a 33% short float. It doesn't do a ton of volume relatively. 12 and a half days to cover. It's a $1 stock. This could be something. This could be something tomorrow, everybody. So you're like ChargePoint, 17%, expected move was 5.5. This is 3x the expected move with a 33% short float and a 12.5 days to cover, and it's going back above the 50 period on the daily. I mean, if you're a small cap trader or you like trading penny stocks, I mean, look, it's $1.25, it's a penny stock in my books. If you're trading these kinds of names, this should be on your radar tomorrow. Bigger than expected move, big short float, big days to cover, breakout on the daily chart. It's got everything you want to look for in a continuation. I know I'll be watching ChargePoint. Trust me, it's going to do at least 4 or 5 times regular volume on tomorrow's trade. So there's going to be plenty of liquidity on this stock.
And there's also some movement here in SentinelOne. Now, I am seeing aspects of their report online. To be clear, unfortunately, I still don't have it populated yet on Benzinga. It's okay, I'll get it to you guys the second I have it. But in the meantime, I have some summaries here on X. SentinelOne apparently reported Q3 gross margin of 75% and Q3 cash and investments equaling $1.1 billion. Q3 adjusted gross margin here, 80%. So strong margins here. Now let's talk about their annual recurring revenue, which was $859.7 million. They did beat for their Q3 revenue. This came in here at $210.6 million versus estimates of $209.7 million. So they did beat by about $1 million. They did have their outlook here. They're seeing this could be the drop. They're seeing a 3% drop here in their Q4 adjusted operating margin, about -3. So I'm not sure, to be clear the way this is worded, I'm not sure if they're seeing margin of -3%. I highly doubt that is. It seems like they're going to see their margin drop by 3%. But again, if I see any clarification, we know how hard it is to report headlines. Walmart and UNH, headlines getting a little confused. So what I will tell you is it looks like there is some decline there in their margin expected, guys.
Yeah, and I just looked over at ChargePoint and I put it in the chat. Their guide isn't even that good. Like ChargePoint seeing Q4 full year 25 revenues 95 to 105 versus 101.26 estimate. So you're talking about the expectation being 101. The midpoint of your guide is exactly at 100. So you're actually guiding midpoint underneath expectations. But this is what I'm getting at. I actually saw in the chat there being pointed out, Tesla's going to eat up ChargePoint. Look, I'm not here to tell you that ChargePoint is a good stock or a good company, right? This is what the chart looks like. Does anybody think that this is good? And if you think this is good, then you're a short seller. No, all I'm getting at is 33% short float and the days to cover that high and a push up above the 50 period. Shorts have to take profit to win. So all you look for is a couple of days where you can play some longs on some extended volume. As a day trader, that's enough for me. I get it. This is not a good stock. There's no question about it. But oftentimes, you're going to find yourself trading something that you don't think is going to be very good. Oh, and I don't mean, my bad. Sister Girl from Another World. Okay, first of all, shout out to that amazing name.
It's a great name.
That's a great name. And I think I just rattled that off without even making a mistake, which is good for me. Do not jinx my stock. Me jinxing your stock would be pointing out it getting to its highs. Generally speaking, that's how I jinx stocks. Such and such stock is at a high and it's going to break out. When I say that, inevitably it pulls back. So you Kramer? No, it's just that.
I know, I'm joking. Yeah, it's like
when a stock gets to a very big key level, like an NVIDIA 150 tomorrow, let's just say. Like I'll be like, I'm taking a 150 break. It's about to get there. It's getting there. And from the time I point it out, 30 minutes later, it makes the break. And you probably could have shorted it like 5 times.
I see what you mean.
Which is usually the case, not because I did it, but because it's a big level, everybody. And at a big level, usually you get a pullback first. So it's not my fault. I'm not trying to
SentinelOne numbers.
Not trying to jinx anybody. We have some more numbers from SentinelOne. Just a quick little point here on SentinelOne. You bounced, retested the low, and are now holding the low. So it's still looking bad for SentinelOne, everybody.
Yeah.
Not good. Now down 9%. This should be 10% potentially tomorrow.
So yeah, I want to clarify again here. The one number that we did have, because I feel like it might be how they reported it, because I'm getting some numbers circulating in Benzinga, but even when I had those numbers on X, I had only pieces of the report. Now we have a larger piece of the puzzle. So this number we did have, SentinelOne, beating on Q3 sales. This is actually a massive beat, though. They did here have a 28% year-over-year increase in revenue. Annual recurring revenue is actually up by 29% year-over-year. But they missed on earnings per share. They reported 0 cents earnings per share, so no earnings or losses. But analysts were looking for 1 cent per share earnings, so that was a little bit of a miss there. They are guiding here stronger than expected for fiscal 2025 revenue, and they're also guiding a 32% year-over-year revenue increase. Okay, so here's the thing. They're actually guiding non-GAAP operating margin of down 4% year-over-year. So that was what we said. The non-GAAP operating margin and those EPS miss seems to be what impacted this one to the downside. They also apparently had their first time achievement of a positive cash flow on a trailing 12-month basis. So there are some positives, especially that revenue growth, but a little bit of weakness here when it comes to the margin guidance and the EPS miss.
So another name, this is not an earnings report, but Costco does have they do have their net sales out for the retail month of November. It looks like they had a 5.5% increase of 20.71 billion year over year. Now, the reaction has been a bit of a sell here, and Costco was having a good day, so it's only flat on the session, but it did just pull back $10. That's only 1% on Costco, but it's not only earnings here tonight. Costco pulling back off of fresh highs because they just came out with their month-over-month numbers there. We also there's another earnings name that...
PVH.
Yeah. I mean, whatever. I have a Tommy jacket, so we can talk about them. Yeah. PVH down 3 points here. And bouncing off of a little bit of a dip to the downside. It's not a huge move. It's not a ridiculous amount of volume going through, but it did drop at one point. It was close to 7 or 8% to the downside. Now pairing that off halfway here for PVH. So another earnings name, another disappointment overall. Like you've really only had ChargePoint, I guess, the small cap that's been good.
Upside,
That's actually charging up, but for the most part, you're having some downward moves in here. Not looking too good. 5 was fantastic.
Yeah, 5 was great there. That was not a disappointment. And again, I actually think knowing that Winnie Park is the CEO of Forever 21 comes from that background, I actually think that's a great fit for the company. Let's talk, though, about PVH. There's actually one that was requested a lot here in the chat, so I really wanted to make sure that we did cover it. They beat on EPS and they beat on sales. I have those numbers in the chat as well, but earnings of $3.03 per share versus $2.59 expected. What a beat. Sales also a beat, 2.255 bill versus 2.22 billion expected. However, they did lower their GAAP operating margin outlook. So they were initially seeing 9.8%. Now they're seeing about 9.2%. So a little bit of a decrease, but seems to be feeling that. They're also guiding adjusted earnings between $11.55 and $11.70 per share for the fiscal year. I am not seeing how that compares to analyst estimates as of right now. So again, that's the PVH report. If there's any other numbers, as always, if you guys want, I will try my very best to get them to you in the chat.
Yeah, and again, I see Mahesh Pupala in the chat. Why is Costco down? Again, they reported their the retail November numbers for Costco. That's the reason why a little bit of a downtick. Not a huge move, but I guess a little bit disappointing. I mean, sometimes when you go 5 or 6%, it's not enough. Yeah. And when you're a beast like Costco and you've made fresh highs, people want double digits. It is what it is. And you're not always going to get that kind of a number year over year. 5 is now... Five below has actually bounced a little bit here, so there was a pullback into 113. It's still up 14%. So this is, oddly enough, this is underneath the expected move. There's a blemish here on 5 below. It's the fact that it got to and tried to break away from the expected move and is now holding underneath. There was a wick up to 130, but realistically it's $120, which has the resistance on it, which puts you, sometimes it's just that perfect. Look at the resistance. Look where you could have actually engaged if you were trading. I'm not saying you should trade aftermarket, but the expected move 16%. That's where the pullback really was, where you could find resistance. And I wonder if we're going to have the juice to push through that here in the afternoon. You got to be able to think about, whether it can get there. I tend to believe if you're trading in the aftermarket today, maybe you look at some crypto names and Bitcoin at that 100,000 test could be bigger. You're starting to really taper off on volume in some of the earnings name. You don't have a lot of big tech, but 5 is certainly one to watch if it can push through that 16. And as we said, if you're looking for something that did an outsized move, ChargePoint up 18%, while not a great stock, while only $1.40, is 3 times the expected move with a big short float. And that's why it'll be a day trading stock tomorrow, almost 100%. I think that's going to be a big one. Again, that's just going to be my opinion. I did want to check back in on a couple of things. We didn't talk about the markets very much.
No.
What?
I said no. I just said, we didn't talk about it.
No, we didn't really get too much of a chance to talk about the markets. And Sean brought this up, and I'm glad he did. Because, he actually brought up that there was a big pullback, specifically in Chevron. And then I looked over, and I saw a pretty decent pullback in CVX. Well, if you're looking at the XLE, and you've been riding that wave, testing back in the highs, what goes up must come down. It took us flat out almost a full month to go 5% to retest the highs on XLE. Well, we're already back to where we started at 92. The 50 and 200 period are going to be on watch. So if you are looking at trading energy names, or if you're a trader that likes the energy names, tomorrow is going to be a day to be on watch, because you've pulled back into what should be a good theoretical support. And I say theoretical support because I'm not watching a bit on level 2. I'm talking about the 50 and 200 period moving averages on the daily chart. Got to watch out for XLE. And then just to wax poetic about why you don't get into things until they confirm they're strong, tan down another 2 points today. This is an ETF. This is a group that continues to bleed, and it only goes lower until you get some higher lows and a rounded bottom. I think you got to stay away from that one. What's the old saying? My mother used to say, don't touch it with a 10-foot pole.
Yes, I've heard of that.
Yeah, that's the old
Or if you
adage.
heard the Grinch, I wouldn't touch you with a 39.5-foot pole. If you know that song, you're a mean one, Mr. Grinch.
Wow, that's a good one. I love the Grinch movie.
I almost bought a Grinch Christmas sweater yesterday, and I think I'll go back and buy it, probably.
Well, it's important that you do, because around here at Trader TV Live, at least most of us, when it comes Christmas time, we're going to have an ugly sweater day. And I'll tell you right now, every single year, I've got my ugly sweater locked and loaded. So you guys are usually in for a treat. Adara's going to have one.
Yeah.
I prefer the animated Grinch to the one with Jim Carrey.
Same.
I think he's a genius, but kids get scared of the one with Jim Carrey.
He looks weird in it. Although the Benedict Cumberbatch animated remake in 2018, I have to say, was adorable. He was an odd choice for me, but like when you see little baby flashback Grinch, you just want to give him a little hug. So I stand by the animated Grinches of all varieties.
I do agree. I cannot argue with that whatsoever. That said, Benedict Cumberbatch, the guy's ridiculously talented, and he's got like the greatest name in Hollywood.
Yes.
Like, you're not going to lose. And why? Because it's just ridiculously memorable.
Yeah.
And you sound like I immediately think my IQ was jumped 25 points just by saying his name. I just want to point.
Disney.
Oh, Disney?
There's a new thing on Disney.
Okay, what do we have on Disney? No, go ahead.
So Disney has apparently declared $1 per share dividend, which is a 33% increase over their dividend for last year. So Disney here, not a lot of volume on this, but a pretty big spike to the upside here on this news that they are declaring a $1 per share dividend. Again, 33% year over year increase.
Well, you know what I like about this? Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not complaining, because there was a point a while back where I said I'm selling my Disney shares and deciding the only name I wanted to be in when it came to streaming, specifically for streaming, was going to be Netflix. That's obviously turned out well. I think there's a trade coming here for Disney. And you always got to look, whether you like the stock, whether you own the stock, it doesn't really matter. If you see a trading opportunity, you want to be in tune with it. And you've got, I said this in the afternoon show, once, twice, now thrice, you have a test potentially of the 125 level. That's a triple top with a rounded bottom. You got the 200 period moving average it has to close over. I could be spoiling my idea for the trade next week. So if we put out a video next weekend and you're like, Neil, you already talked about this Disney breakout over on the aftermarket show. How can it be your trade of next week? I apologize in advance, but that's looking very juicy here. Obviously, I don't know where it's going to close tomorrow, but a great story. The dividend is back, and it's heading back into the upside. And speaking about things that are back, guess who's back?
Back again.
Back again. Sentinel-1 is back, but only $1 off the lows. So it caught a bit off 25. That's a good sign. Still under the expected move. Not great. They're down 5.5 points, but they were expecting a little bit more than that. With S, you were expecting a 13% move. So down 5% is kind of a nothing burger. And that's one of the cases where anybody writing the options win and everybody buying options loses. So Sentinel-1 here, it's essentially doing nothing on the daily chart. Like, this is nothing. You're in the same range that you've been holding for the last month. I was looking for something that could have given you a trade off the 200 period moving average if it was going to dip. Otherwise, everyone and their mother would have preferred this stock broke out the top at 30. Beggars can't be choosers. When it comes to a trade, I either want to trade breaking out here or I want to trade supporting there. We might get neither one here on Sentinel-1. There's nothing you can do about it there. For profit, that can't be right. I'm feeling your pain, for profit. Coinbase saying you bought BTC over 100,000, that's trash. Look, man, I hope that's not true, because that would be trash if it's true, they're for profit. But you know what? I hope you got a recourse for that. Obviously, Bitcoin never came. Look, it not only did it not break 100,000, didn't come close to breaking 100,000. But at the end of the day, I think this is why people like regulation, at least a certain sense of it. If you're trading on the equity markets and you get that kind of a fill with your broker, you got a recourse. When you're trading with Coinbase, you get that kind of a fill. Do you have the same recourse? I can tell you right now, I've never known a broker where that wouldn't get broken on the equity markets. You know, I can't really speak for what will happen here for you, but I just want to, look, man, I don't mind going on rants, but I feel for you. If that's actually true, that absolutely sucks there for you for profit, and I hope that isn't actually true, and they get that reversed, because that's absolutely ridiculous for sure.
Yes. Yeah, hopefully that is all resolved for you. I also want to bring up a question here in the chat from, just a comment from JR Sun that I think is absolutely wonderful. Basically saying here, would Mr. Grinch be a bear or a bull? And I said almost definitely a bear. JR Sun agreed with me, but honestly, this would be a really fun poll question. So shout out to JR Sun. I'm going to have to remember this closer to Christmas. Also, I have one more note on PVH that I want to bring up. They actually had super weak EPS guidance, and it seems like this is what's sending them to the downside. Though, like we said, they had slightly lower than expected operating margin guidance as well. They're guiding Q4 adjusted earnings between $3.05 to $3.20 per share. Analysts were looking for $3.71. So that is, I don't know how to put this, a miss. It's a miss. But yeah, so I think that's certainly worth noting. Also, Big Bear AI, I'm seeing according to a Form 4, somebody called Pangium is selling 6.28 million shares of Big Bear AI. BBAI, you know, has been on the move lately, so just be aware of that. Not reacting too much, though, the stock right now. I know I'm excited to see what Synopsys does tomorrow on earnings. That is the big spready ticker of the day, so that's going to be one that I have my eye on going forward there.
Yeah, Big Bear not moving on that, but I wanted to point out that Corey Pratt in the chat, Bitcoin not even close to 100K with 750 up that. Okay, so let me be a little bit more precise. I know and I appreciate that you guys do this. Sometimes when somebody tells me they got a fill at 100,700 and we didn't trade within 1,000 of that price, I'm like, we didn't get close to it. I understand. We got very close to 100,000 today. But for someone to get a fill on whatever platform above 100,000 is bunk. In my mind, it didn't come anywhere close to a reasonable execution for you to get filled. I've traded breakouts. I had a breakout trade 3 times on Palantir at 70 just yesterday, you know, where I looked at it, I'm like, we didn't even break 70, I'm long at 0102s. That's acceptable. I saw it get to like 99, there was probably a dark pool. I got triggered, I ended up pushing, and you end up getting a price above it. But to get filled at 100,700, when I never saw a print within 1,000 of that on any platform, I'm looking at multiple sources. I'm looking at Binance, I'm looking at TradingView, I'm looking at Coinbase directly. So that's all I'm getting at. I understand we got very close. There's no question. There's no question about it. I think we do make that run. If you want to look at what's going on right now, specifically, we are still pulling back off some of those highs. We're still around that 99,000 mark, actually just slightly lower. But I just looked down and realized
it's 4:30.
It's already 4:30.
Time flies when you're having fun.
So we didn't even, we had some earnings, not even crazy earnings, and it's still 4:30, and I can't still manage to make sure that we get to roll call on time, because apparently that's how I roll. But you know what time it is if you watch. You know Adair is about to rhyme off a few names in the chat. So if you want to get your shout out today in a roll call, the first thing you need to do is hit that subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. It's a subs only chat. So if you want your name read off in the chat, you have to be in the chat. And what you can do, and what I always suggest you do, is instead of just typing any old message, how about you type a message of thanks to someone on our team? How about you type a message of thanks to Sean for that Q's trade? How about you type a message of thanks to our production team for doing a fantastic job making us look and sound good? And make sure you give a big shout out to the midday crew who spent an extra 10, 15 minutes. Thank you very much to Joe. Thank you very much to Sharif. Thank you very much to Obi and Randy, as we were on for a bit of a long lunch, Sean and myself. So shout out to them. Shout out to Adara on the news, giving you everything that you need throughout the day and doing it with style. Shout out to Brandon. Shout out to the entire team, as I have already said. But of course, big shout out to Bears versus Bulls, the best moderator in the business. That's who I'm going to shout out to. So with that, get your name in the chat. Adair is about to give you roll call.
Thank you very much, guys. Really quickly, 2 news stories to watch out for. There's some selling here from Datadog. CFO apparently selling about 11,000 shares. That's not moving the stock. Abercrombie & Fitch here, ANF, also apparently announcing this partnership to enter the Indian market. But let's get these names started here. Thank you to Neil. Thank you to Bears vs. Bulls, Ramin, Fabian, Brendan, Neil, Sean. I said Neil. Thank you twice, Neil. We have Sean. We have Sharif. We got Joe. We got Obi. We got Randy. And we got everybody in the chat. Bill Bagholder, Mike Breeze. Shout out again. Thank you very much to Bears vs. Bulls. Everything you do. TH. We have Streamlabs. I'll shout out to Streamlabs too. Ethan Schlau. We've got Mike, Matt C, Mark L, Corey Pratt, Christmas, very apt name there. T-Man, Michael Spadafora, Sister Girl from Another World, Pickle Jim, Scooty, Robert Vitale, Arise, Carl Gruen, Bilal Wood, B-Bot, 5,000. We have Ricky, we have Blue Arrow, NT, Foul Territory, but it's FOWL, so that's a pun, which I like. We got Slugga, we have Russ Fane, Call Me Pappy, Scott Angel, Prather Fam, Blue Arrow again here, Brad V, we have Tosu, we got Logan's Pop, Matt Tusasi, Michael Westrick, Murad, we have Daryl Flinch, we have Trendboard, Paco OR West, y'all, Cali Cat, Oliver Katsaros, and NYC Urbanista. Last name here, Grubbs. I love that. Grubbs saying bye-bye. We'll say bye-bye to you guys. It was a great day. It was a fun day for trading and for looking at the market and the news, and we'll do it all again tomorrow morning.
Which is what we do. I actually saw someone say, why are cannabis stocks ripping? I haven't seen anything on the cannabis stocks there at the end, but you did make me look, and they're not going anywhere. MS West isn't moving aftermarket. But the best thing about it, you just said there, Adara, we're only halfway done the week. We get to do it all again tomorrow, right?
Know,
so
right?
we got a lot of action. We got some names to look at for some continuation moves tomorrow. Maybe we'll get a Bitcoin 100,000 break, but you're not going to know unless you tune in. So tune in bright and early, 8:30 tomorrow morning. We are Trader TV Live, and we'll see you tomorrow.
See you.